Hello, everyone. We are live.
Hey, guys. Welcome back to the Big Idea Show.
Welcome back to the Big Idea Show, guys.
I'm Brent, and I'm here with David. So how's it going?
Hi. Great. I'm doing great.
All right. So we're talking
Happy to
about
be here with you.
Yes, I'm glad. So he was saying he was a little bit nervous. I'm like, don't be nervous. We're still workshopping this.
Exactly.
So,
yeah.
All right. So we're going to be talking about masculinity, basically. Like
Okay.
What is it? So you tap the screen. You can fast forward.
Yeah.
Okay.
That way you're not delayed.
Mhm.
So, modern men are receiving a lot of contradictory stuff. Even mentioned that even in Spider-Man, there was some contradictory stuff going on in there. But there's this idea of like be ambitious, but always be, available at the same time, like emotionally available,
Mm-hmm.
like for women or for other men. Be confident. But this is my opening monologue for the algorithm. It's like it's
Very well.
be confident, but not necessarily intimidating, right? Like men are supposed to be confident, but not be like try to like.
Yeah, but it's
Awesome.
really hard because we need to be right there in the perfect middle so that we are
Right.
not too much of this or too much of that. And that's what is expected of us and how to behave and how to act. And
Mhm.
it is really hard because we are also sensitive people like
Are we?
everyone. I am.
I am. No, I listen, I'm 100% sensitive. And I think like being a man, it's like, there's a level, do you think there's a level of performance to being a man?
I can talk for myself.
Exactly.
And my answer is yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can go out and tell how I feel or how I like, even in ideologies regarding, it's just like in politics, you just can't talk it to everyone. Or sometimes you
It's
just
like
can't
door
talk
knocking.
about your feelings because what if you trigger the wrong person? And maybe you're just pouring your head out, but you just said something
Right.
that it's completely against their mindset. And now
I think
you're
that-
the enemy.
Don't you
know?
think that in itself is a trap too? The idea that like everything we have to do has to be so, ideologically,
Correct.
Well, I mean, what is correct?
I guess whatever we say is correct, like a society.
Right. But don't you think that I feel like as I've gotten older, I don't want to be a slave to the moment. Like I don't want to be a slave to the ideals of right now, because I know that it's like partially it feels like a fad. Now I do think like Gen Z, one of the great things that came with that is the idea of not being a hater. Like I do agree with that. Like don't be a hater. Like live and let live.
I mean, I think
But there are some
we
things
are
that have
doing
consequences.
that, but only from the outside because we are still being hateful towards each other. We just switch it online. I don't say, "Hey, F you" on your face.
Okay,
but you can be
yes,
sure I'm gonna do it.
But it used to be way worse online. Like online used to be so crazy. Like if you were talking about anything,
I mean,
like
have you read Reddit lately?
I don't go there. But honestly, I think everyone has a Reddit page now.
Yeah, I mean,
Like,
I don't, but I usually
Anyone
do.
who's ever done any job
Mhm.
has a Reddit page, from my knowledge. I mean, every actor, every director I've worked with, every set I've ever been on, I feel like anyone who's ever had to be over like at least two people
Mhm.
literally has a Reddit page.
Yeah,
Like I don't even care. And I feel like if you have ever been in charge of more than two people, you have a Reddit page. Like it wouldn't surprise me. Does that make sense?
yeah.
So
it
I
makes
feel
sense.
like, I don't count that. But I think you're right. There's like the dark aspects of, it's not the official dark web, but there's some dark aspects of it. The idea of, but I do think that we're more open because back in the day, there were more haters on all the major social media sites because we didn't have as many options. But now we have options. So it's like, if you really don't like something, you can go watch something else.
Something else, yeah.
Or if you don't agree with an idea, you can be like, I can explore what I believe to be true. But what tell me about
That is
Reddit?
also
I'm
so
curious, 'cause I
dangerous,
don't go down the Reddit rabbit hole.
but like I think speaking of Reddit, that is pretty dangerous.
What's
Okay,
up,
so
Dag
I don't
Overhaul?
like.
How's it going? Dag Overhaul's here. So Dag Overhaul's a regular. So he's like a
Hi,
regular.
Daggerroll.
So he's from Sweden. So a lot of the audience is actually from Europe.
Okay, nice to meet you.
Yeah.
Everyone from there. I'm
So people are
little
like, oh,
David
they're-
from Mexico.
That's right.
Which one should I look at?
You
Which
know,
one's for me? Like that one? Is that me? Hey.
Yeah.
Yeah, either of those. Yeah.
So nice to meet you, little David here from Mexico. Happy to be with all of you. So what are we talking about?
So you said that was dangerous in and of itself. The idea
because
that there's
the
not a
idea
hater.
that if I don't like this information content, I'm just gonna go look for something that appeals to me
That's
and
really-
satisfy.
That's a really good topic right there, because it's almost more dangerous the fact that you can just go and kind of be indoctrinated more into whatever you already believe to be true
Yeah, let's say I
versus
believe that the earth is flat.
yes.
I have plenty of information to go online to feed myself into thinking and realizing and be sure.
This is why I'm so
that
glad
the
you're
earth is
here,
flat.
because that's a great point. Because it's like that in and of itself is dangerous. So in a way, like the hateration, the hating aspect of some of the stuff that millennials were doing, or
Mhm.
even boomers, were doing, was that was like legitimate discourse, even if it felt, somewhat like dangerous or violent. Even, a lot of people say like Gen Z, they're so sensitive. It's like, that's violent. It's like, come on, boo. It's like, I just said I don't like your shirt or whatever. There's this idea of, like where, like at what point, because we have so many options now.
Mhm.
Why are we so afraid to offend each other?
Like in what regard? Defend each other in what regard?
Or why are we so easily offended? Maybe that's a better question. Why are we so easily offended?
That is
not that
that
we.
is a
I don't think
great
anybody.
question.
I mean, Mario, do you ever go out of the door trying to offend people? I definitely don't.
No.
I'd be
No,
curious.
but
if in the chat.
I think I myself has been, part of this. I felt offended, like for stuff that I didn't used to. I'm going to use my family as an example here.
Please do.
So, as a little kid, I'm just going to tell you all, guys, all my trauma. I remember vividly.
Let's trauma bond everything.
I remember vividly, like this. I was like 5, whatever. My sister and my mom, we were all in bed watching cartoons, and I fell from the bed.
Okay.
And my sister and my mother laughed the hell out of me, and I
remember that.
I remember it vividly, and I remember them just teaching me like, "Hey, you just get a man up. Like that's just gonna happen. You're gonna fuck up, and we're gonna make fun of you, and live with it."
Because it wasn't a malicious laugh. It was
hey, we're just having fun, and you just tripped and fall. But I felt sad about it. I just fall. It hurts. My body hurts, and you're making fun of me, and you're my mommy.
You're making a good point,
and
because you're saying it can go into the smallest of things,
or something that I'm not sure if it happens in the States, but at least I think every Mexican kid can agree with me.
Okay.
At one point,
you guys are just not scrolling in. We're talking about manhood. You'll see, like people kind of just discover because we just created the video.
At one point or another, either mom or dad are gonna tell you, "Oh, you are worthless. You didn't do anything good." That kind of things is gonna. It has stuck with me.
Yeah.
So
like
now as an adult, if I do something wrong, I hear my mom and I hear my dad being, "You're worthless. You can't do this right. I'm never gonna take you out again."
That's so real.
And now, since I have it in my mind all the time, these horrible words, when I see
it's
them,
on repeat though, right?
And
they say it maybe once or twice,
and then no, it's forever. Like every time I drop something, I hear my dad telling me.
Right, but my point is that maybe there's only one instance where they actually verbalized it.
Yeah,
but you keep repeating it because it's like who's saying it, they carry like the ultimate weight in your mind.
So now as an adult, I'm so easily offended by them. Every time they tell me something, and I'm like, you know what? You don't have the right to tell me. I'm an adult and I make my own decisions. And if you don't like them, that's your problem because I don't live under your house.
Do you feel like you're inherently like reactionary?
Yeah, but it's probably because of the trauma, So I'm not sure. Maybe all of Gen Zs are just big.
I think every generation was. I think every generation was traumatized. I think that Gen Z is the most open about mental health. And exploring what that means.
I've always told my parents, if I had a kid, you're gonna see me being the modern father. Like, hey, I don't want to hurt your feelings. I know I'm just gonna be that guy. I guess I'm going to spoil him, and I go live a different way.
Yeah, well, they always say that you go into parenthood like with the best of intentions, and in some way or another, no matter what, it's part of the human experience to be traumatized.
Maybe, but
because I told you a little bit about mine, and I was telling you it's still going. It's still like never. It's like never ending. So it's like this kind of nightmare. And so there are a lot of videos and therapy, people gurus. I mean, listen, people like run and join cults to try to avoid, but sometimes there is not an answer. Like if you have trauma, whether you're a man or a woman or wherever you come from, there's trauma that you can experience in your life. And it is what it is. And sometimes there's not an answer other than making peace that was an event that transpired in the past. Now, if you're still dealing with that parent, right, and they're still saying stuff to you, it's like, do you feel like you're projecting a little bit too much of the past, or do you still think that, are they still critical of your life choices? Because tell everybody what you do. For people that are just now scrolling in, what do you do?
I'm a voice actor here in Mexico. I dub for cartoons, TV shows, movies from one language into Spanish. Any language.
So is it mostly English and like Japanese, or?
Most of what I've had is English, basically. A lot of Japanese stuff, especially not just anime, but there are a lot like this new telenovelas, but for like reels.
Are they verticals? Are they Korean? Are they mostly Korean?
They are mostly Korean.
Yeah, yeah.
And Chinese also.
Yeah, I know the Chinese are
So I've
pumping
been
out a lot of
dubbing
those.
lots of those. And Russians. I've had a lot of Russian series. They go for YouTube. But
They just go. They just post them straight on YouTube.
Yeah.
Isn't that wild?
Yeah.
And that shows you like how the distribution models have changed so much.
But of course, for the more like general audiences, it's mostly everything in English or Japanese if they're into anime.
Okay. So most of the cultural product still is English to this point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Korean a lot. For example, if you work for Netflix, you're going to be doing a lot of Korean stuff. Yeah.
They've invested billions of dollars in the Korean thing. So how do you see masculinity playing out in like these other stories? Because I know that our relationship with what is inherently like being a man or masculinity is very different depending on which culture you live in.
You know, that is a great...
Right? I mean, that's why we talk about these things because...
Yeah, because we were just talking about masculinity, but now we just mentioned Korea and Russia. And I can tell you it's not the same way a male is depicted occidentally as how they are depicted.
Like Western versus Eastern?
Exactly.
Yeah.
They are completely different archetypes. I do think they are far more emotional. Mm-hmm. You can see them, the idols, and there are the singers and so on, not so much the actors. And women like that kind of behavior.
They really do.
They are sensitive and they are, you know?
Yeah, that's what's interesting. I think that's what a lot of people are trying to figure out too. It's like, why did these women, why are they so obsessed with like this? Maybe on the surface feels like hyper feminized or more like, the pretty, it's like that the first signs of that were, remember that Boys Before Flowers?
Okay.
It was like a series from Korea.
Okay.
Have you heard of this, Mario?
No.
It was called Boys Before Flowers. Maybe somebody in the chat will know what I'm talking about. But it was this television show, Boys Before Flowers.
And what is it about?
And it was just about like, modern love in Korea. But it was, the men were almost like very feminine, but it was the beginnings of this. So it was like 15, 20 years ago. They'd already had a version of this, but it's become so big. In fact, in China, the government has outlawed can you look this up, Mario?
Yeah.
In China, they've outlawed like the sissy man kind of
really?
thing. Yeah, like you can't, they're not allowed to have like the K-pop idols.
I remember
they're not allowed to do that because they see it as a crisis that's going to lead to, they think that that's what's already contributing to their population, the collapse.
That reminds me a lot of, I don't know, have you probably heard of it? 15 years ago, not 20, but almost there. There was this big story about this guy from Iraq.
Okay.
He was like vanished from where he was because he was beautiful. Like the guy was,
he was like too pretty,
very handsome.
So they disappeared him because he was too pretty.
They vanished him from the place he was living at, and it was like a big news.
Talk about that's the
just looking at the guy, because a man can show his face,
sure,
unlike women,
right?
Who have to be like
good point
covered. So
he was just naturally very handsome.
He was just beautiful. I mean, I saw pictures of the guy. He was beautiful.
And you're like, I agree. I could.
I'm straight, but I agree. The man was beautiful. So they were saying that he was prompting sin into the eyes of the women of the town.
Wow.
Just by being, which is the same ideology they have as of why they have them all covered. Because men are going to desire the girl.
But don't you think there was also some of that where they were probably afraid of it? Awakening desire in other men as well.
That is, I've never thought of it, but it's absolutely possible. Yes.
I mean, my sister's ex-husband is from, where is it? Pakistan. And so he was just saying that the stuff that goes on, that it would never reach the news, because he was just saying the culture there is so, but he said everything you can think of goes on there. And he was just saying that it's unlike the United States, like everything becomes a scandal. Everybody has a smartphone, that stuff never sees the light of day unless it becomes like a huge, like existential crisis for the country. Like it doesn't make the news.
Is this the guy on screen? The guy that you're
referring
to?
Where
it's always, there's only a little bit of a delay.
Yeah.
I think it is, yes. Yeah, I mean, I saw it like 15 years ago, but yeah, I think it is the guy.
He like vanished without a trace. I hope he's still alive.
I was too young to actually get too invested on the story.
Well, I think, yeah, it wouldn't surprise me. Maybe Mario has the answer. So we're talking about masculinity. If you guys are just not scrolling in, and what does it mean?
Yeah. Just as a quick note, yes, China effectively banned effeminate male celebrities in what?
Effeminate male celebrities. It's illegal. Like they can't
from television and online.
When did they do that? It was a few
September 2021.
So September
Wasn't that long
2021.
ago.
Yeah, but it's because they were seeing like the rise of this type of content and how it was like distorting the traditional, because it does, but I think that's interesting that on a societal level, I'm not saying that I agree, but I think that they may have a point. The idea that they're thinking that if people are, there's a thing called the 4Ks. Can you look this up, Mario?
Yeah.
This is another thing too. There's something we can pull up, then Mario can look it up. Mario's our wonderful producer, guys. So kudos for Mario.
Hey guys.
Sometimes I'm behind the desk. As you know, the more people are here, we can rotate. It's kind of cool to be
Someday I'm gonna be behind the desk.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. Yeah. Because it's kind of you kind of enjoy it. You don't have to be in the fire, but you're also part of the show. But essentially, there in Korea, a lot of women are opting out from having families, not having babies, not wanting to participate in the traditional culture, and they call it like the 4Ks. I think it's what it's called, or the 4 somethings.
Like the destruction of.
It's the 4 something, but it's them opting out and just being. It's very much in alignment
4B?
with 4Bs. That's what it is.
Yeah,
Thank
the 4
you.
Bs is a South
The 4B.
Korean.
Hear this. This is really fascinating.
Yeah,
This is like a big thing in Korea right now.
So this is a movement whose proponents do not date. So there's like 4 no's.
The 4 no's.
Uh-huh.
So B is like in China, it's like bu, it means no, but B means no in Korean. So they're very similar, but it stands for the 4 no's.
Yeah. So no date men, marrying men.
No dating men, no marrying men.
Have intimacy with men or have children with men.
No intimacy.
Where does that come from? Like those 4 Bs are because of
it's
what?
like a movement. It's like
Hey, Sultan, how's it going?
like an ideology movement that women have, because
And what is the purpose or the goal of the movement?
It's like societal withdrawal. It's like there are whole documentaries on this, but in China they have have you heard of the lying flat generation?
Yeah, I think, but if you want to explain it to me.
It's where 12. Yeah, don't worry. So in China there's an issue with people, like they can't fulfill the promise of you get your education, you go to all these different training schools, or you get a master's degree, whatever it may be, and you can't actually find a job because there are not enough jobs. And so there's a whole, like there's hundreds of millions of young people, or maybe 100 million young people, something crazy, huge, like the entire population of Mexico plus, that are just like saying, you know, I'm not going to participate in the workforce. I'm just going to, and then they're calling themselves the lying flat generation. You can probably pull a picture of this or what this is, but and it's descended, and now they're calling themselves like rat people, because they're like saying like they're like a little rat or like a little mouse, and like they'll only come out like whenever they want to eat something, or they like have a real physical or biological need.
Participate in society, that you're like a reclusive.
Yeah, they're like a recluse. Yeah, a reclusive person. So they're calling themselves like the rat people now, and so it's become like a thing. And so it's actually something that's not unique to just China, but it's because it's so many freaking people that even they can't even control inside of, you know, Weibo, their own Chinese, you know, because it's a closed system. Like there's WeChat and Baidu. It's like a closed system. Everybody's part of the same network. So everything in China, like everything you pay with, it's all with like your phone.
You've been to China?
I have not, but I've interviewed a lot of people who've come out of China, and so, but they're the lying flat generation, and so it's like they're not participating in the workforce and relationships. But that ultimately comes to a point where you're having to take care of your elderly parents, and it's like where's the money to do that? And so, but that's not just there. It's actually a phenomenon that's happening with Gen Z around the world.
Yeah, I guess. Well, for example, I think without even knowing, I may even be participating into that, because
tell me. I
more. Guess the way me and several of the people of my age, how we are working,
right?
We're mostly self-employed.
Sure.
And it's not like it's self-employed. I'm selling stuff or something. I'm working for a company that has me hired, but I'm mostly working from home for my own computer.
Right.
Like my own. There's a point where I've been just so caught up working and being inside of my own head, making money and making for the food, that sometimes I forget to just walk outside,
touch grass,
to exist, to remember where I'm at, and breathe, and have friends, and have a social life, because
it's real.
Sometimes just staying at home and being so focused on yourself and your work,
lying flat here,
it's going to get you depressed.
Well, that's the kind of the idea, right? Is that this is kind of an inherent symptom of it's because we've entered since the fall of the Roman Empire. That's whenever we've been in modernity. That was like the end of antiquity. So they say.
Is that when
all like
knowledge was lost?
Not necessarily. I mean, there's a lot of, like, for example, it's like a myth that the Library of Alexandria burned down. It was actually like not really I mean, there were probably systemic fires here and there, but it really wasn't burned down. It was just like raided and looted over the years, right?
Okay.
So, but yeah, it does feel like there was like a period of like the Dark Ages, right, before the Renaissance. But stuff was happening. But there are a lot of people online who are out there who are saying that we're living in the Dark Ages of our times, or at least the Middle Ages. Like the Middle
Only
Ages.
time will tell.
How would you describe the Middle Ages? Can you look up what the official definition is?
Yeah.
I'd be curious. Now, because the Middle Ages doesn't necessarily mean it's like everything is bad, but what it means is there's like a transition period. But so there's like, for example, there's a really great YouTuber. His name is his channel is Medieval Mindset. It's really cool. He's been doing it for years, but he has been making the argument for like 10 years that we're living in the Middle Ages. Like the 2020s is like we're like almost like the Dark Ages. The Dark Ages is actually a period within the Middle Ages, but he's making the argument that we're living in the Middle Ages, and that all these everything that we used to believe is being questioned. For example, like the hegemony of like the church, separation of church and state, the idea that the peasants have an identity. You know, like the idea of having even like a last name is a relatively new concept.
I didn't know that.
That was at the end of like the feudal system. So unless you were royalty, like you didn't even have a last name.
And here's the definition. It is the period in European history from the collapse of the Roman civilization in the 5th century CE to the period of the Renaissance, which various authors interpret as beginning in the 13th or 14th or even 15th century, depending on the region of Europe and other factors.
Right, because there's that expression that the future is here. It's just not evenly distributed yet. If you pull up YouTube, sense. It's charging. You can pull it up and you can like comment too on here if you want to. That way you can be a part of the chat. And that because we want people to find you as well.
Yeah.
It's big idea show.
And it's also
I'm using Wi-Fi.
Yeah, go for it here. You can take a picture here.
It's a brief treatment of the Middle Ages that follows, and the term and its conventional meaning were introduced by the Italian humanists with individuals' talent, and the humanists were engaged in a revival of classical learning and culture. So just the notion of it is this idea of breaking. By the way, hello Shadow, thank you for being here.
Hey Shadow, how's it going?
Long time no see. Shadow, I'm glad you're here. Shadow, thank you for being here.
I'm gonna tell you in a second.
And for next time, we'll
don't forget to also like and subscribe.
Cable for you to put your phone with because there's a fan in here, and that will keep your phone like ice cold. That way it doesn't overheat.
Oh, cool. So what's the name of the
A Big Idea Show?
Big Idea Show.
Yeah, we're on Big Idea Show.
One word, it'll pop up because we're still relatively new. Because we had to change our name once we lost our little kid star.
Yeah.
He has his channel as well, so you can check him out later. He's Jimmy Explores.
Hey,
Jimmy Explores is the first thing.
He's the first person. Yeah, I'm telling you.
Yeah. Guys, don't forget to also like and subscribe. That helps us. We're here with David. He's a new guest.
I'm glad you can really articulate your ideas really well, but I think we both are going to blow each other's minds. Here, turn it down here.
Yes.
I mean, I do my best.
No, it's good. It's like exercise for the brain, you know?
It is.
And that's the idea, is for us to have these cultural conversations and have people join in.
I've always felt like my English is really, really, really good until I speak with a native speaker. That's when I'm like,
well, I do think, listen, everyone who's participated so far, and it's only been a couple of weeks, like they want to come back because at the end of the day, when you're going to bed, you're like, wow, like my level of fluency has like gotten way better because we were forced to talk for a couple hours.
Thank you, Francisco.
Fully in English. And
Thank
so that in and of itself is
helpful.
Hey, Francisco, how's it going? How are you?
Thank you for the jewels.
It's an Unk alert. I love it. So they sent a sticker. So YouTube is like, they send stickers.
Yeah.
So it's probably for me. Do you know the term Unk?
Unk as an uncle?
It's in English. It's like a Gen Z term, and it means like you're an officially like an adult. Like you're Unk status.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Am I an Unk?
I mean, probably for a 12-year-old, maybe.
Okay.
You know, but I'd be Unk maybe to you, let's say. And I think it's very Gen Z.
Yeah.
I never would wear jewelry, and Herman just gave me this. And I was like, oh, okay, I put it on.
Yeah, there are so many terms because learning a language is not just about learning a language. And I was talking this with a friend.
Yeah.
Because we are both, in Spanish, we call them mamadores. And we love to speak in English, even though we're both Mexican.
Well, it's probably because you know that if you don't use it, you're going to lose it. I don't think there's anything inherently pretentious about it.
We are pretentious. Yeah, that was a better word. Because we are at the restaurant, in the middle of the pito, and we were just talking in English. Because why do we do it?
Well, I have a theory too behind this.
I know why we do it, especially because, as you know, maybe by learning another language,
right,
you unlock a different part of your personality
100%
that only exists in the other language. So sometimes I want to communicate something to my friend, but I don't want to. But if I communicate in Spanish, I'm sending a different message than if I'm communicating in English.
Because it's baked into the cake. So whenever you're speaking Spanish, even Mexican Spanish, because I learned Spanish in the United States. Then I went and lived in Peru for a while. And then Peru, they have a very different Spanish than in Mexico. So I would literally describe Mexican Spanish as Mexican because it's so crazy different.
Yeah.
It really,
right.
in terms of on the street, not in the telenovelas, but on the street, it's like, it's very like, everything's way, no mames, da, 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 da. They repeat the same words constantly. It's like, es que es X, la verdad es que, and so everything is like, they almost don't even say anything. It's like they get near the idea and they let you come to the conclusion. And then the other person's like, So it's like, I'll hear conversations and no one's actually saying anything, but it's because they're basically reinforcing a cultural point of view. Does that make sense?
And and on that topic of Mexican Spanish, as a voice actor, I'm not only a voice actor, but one of my jobs that I absolutely love, probably, I'm not sure more than acting, but it's a really close second.
Yeah.
I love translating movies.
I knew you were going to say that.
Adapting.
It's like Eugenio with the donkey.
So now I'm going to reveal something. I'm sure it's okay. It hasn't been released, but I don't think I'm going to get in trouble. I translated the new Batman movie into Spanish, the new animated movie. It's called Batman Nightfall.
Nice. That's a great name, Nightfall. Is it with a K?
It's with a K.
Yeah, cool. I like it.
So it's based on a story from the comics, and so the director of the studio called me, and I was like, "Hey, I have a project for you. Can you translate?" And I'm like, "Sure." And then I see it, and it's Batman, and she just sent it like it's nothing. Like, "Hey, here's a little movie," and I'm like,
they used to be more precious with it, right? Like in the early 2000s, but it's like
but I guess because since this is an animated movie, I think they are not being as cautious with it. I even did it on my computer.
Yeah. Well, also there's less money kind of because of piracy. So it's like in the early 2000s, there was piracy, but it wasn't as bad as it is now. At least like now it's just like a given. So it's like, that's why they can't pay like certain people certain amounts of money anymore, because they know that like 95% of the people that are going to watch it in this language are going to watch it as a pirated movie. I mean, I'm just telling you, having worked at the studios.
And it's true.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
Anyway, but I know people are going to enjoy this Batman Nightfall. I'm excited to watch it.
Yeah,
is it already out or not yet?
Not yet. I think it's going to be out like next month or in a couple of weeks.
Okay.
But we're really close.
Okay.
So I was able to translate the whole thing into Spanish. And one of the things is that I live in Mexico, but we translate for Latin America as a whole.
Oh, right.
And as you mentioned, every country has their own Spanish.
True.
So the challenge here is to make a version
like
that appeals to everyone, but also doesn't feel like you are hearing weird words.
Right, like you're existing outside of any like context at all.
That sometimes they are speaking in like this realm or Spanish, like ice cream translates to helado.
Right, helado.
But for many, many years in dubbing, they were calling it mantecado. I don't know where that words come from or why they think that other countries wouldn't understand helado. But
I missed that. So they were calling it mantecado?
Mantecado is how they were translating the word ice cream back in the 90s.
That's not how, is that, because I know that they still dub stuff for Spain. Because it's like, it's still
dubbing. One goes for them and one's for us.
Don't you think it's crazy that for this little bitty country, but it's because of the power of the currency? That's really why. It's because, think about it, it's because, well, I mean, it has to, obviously they do speak differently. But if there was enough money in each market, they would have an Argentinian version. Do you know what I mean?
Sometimes there is.
Sometimes, but it's not, it's becoming increasingly less common because it's not worth the investment to get that out of that.
And me personally, I think a great way to fix this, because we don't do it in dubbing enough. Sometimes people from other countries come, like, let's say we are watching the original product.
Okay.
And there's like a guy from Asia and a guy from Indonesia and a Russian, and they're all speaking English, but with their respective accents.
Oh, right.
And sometimes in dubbing, they don't respect that.
Absolutely.
Sometimes we just have them have flat Spanish.
Right. You make a joke whenever the character is like all of a sudden has a British accent too.
And I believe we should take advantage. If we were just making it for one one for all, then I think we should take advantage of, okay, so maybe we can take the Argentinian accent and give it, maybe not the Russian, but if they are both speaking English and there's a joke about an accent, maybe we can give them Argentinian or Peruvian, or is it Peruvian?
It is Peruvian.
I was looking for the word.
I would argue that they have the least accent, but maybe that's because I'm biased, because I don't hear them having.
And one movie that actually does this is El Gato con Botas 2.
Okay, is that the Wish?
Yeah.
Okay, didn't you think that was an amazing film, by the way?
It was beautiful.
Like, that was a great movie.
And
so,
which is
The Last Wish.
Yeah.
There are characters there that speak in the original version that are Irish, which
Right.
is
Very
what's
specific.
the name of Ricitos de Oro in English? I don't know.
Goldilocks.
Goldilocks.
Yeah,
Nice.
she's the villain of the movie, right? She's the villain.
She's not the main villain, but she's an antagonistic figure.
Right, and then near the end, like she kind of has like a therapy
in every
moment.
movie ever, of course.
Well, actually, I mean, I thought the movie was really well done. I was like going through a lot when I saw that movie, and I thought it was so well done. I like cried because I was like, this is how you do it. This is how you do a movie. And also, I think they play with masculinity too in terms of the cat.
Yeah.
Like, have you thought about that?
Yeah, because he used to be this superhero.
Right. He's like, let himself go. He's just sitting around. So did he need a villain? Did he need a movie to restore his manhood? Don't you find it's everywhere?
Yeah.
The idea of like what it means to be a man is in everything, just like it is in terms of the language, the cultural lens, the gender lens as well. Mm-hmm. And like Salma Hayek's character is like getting him, he needs like an external force to like, remind him of who he is. Or sometimes this idea that you need a villain or you need an adversary to establish your own identity for yourself. That's interesting.
Okay.
Yes. But right. I mean, we don't necessarily look at it through the lens of gender, but
yeah, because he's a cat. So
our
mind makes him neutral.
Right. But that's a man, right? That's a man. And so the bigger narrative is like, what does it mean to be a man when you take away all of his obstacles and he's just at home, having his bowl of milk?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's kind of the argument we've talked about this before on the channel, but it's like this idea of Calhoun's law. So Calhoun's law is they did an experiment with all these rats. Okay. And if you take away all of the, like, let's say you have it becomes not overly populated, but it populated enough so that every inch of the cage is, occupied. They don't have to fight for resources anymore, but they have enough food. They have enough water.
I
heard of this?
I think I watched a video about it. I'm not going to tell you a rat.
Yeah.
But yeah, and like there was a point where they just lost the will and they were just eating and sleeping and eating and sleeping and they all died.
Right. They just lost the will to even reproduce.
Yes.
So there's an argument to be made.
And the rat girls were like crazy defending the little kids.
Some ate their children. Some of the men, most of the men lost the desire to even reproduce, but some of them became hyper aggressive amongst other males. But basically society collapsed inside of this little, universe of mice. Now, obviously mice are not as complex as human, but in a way, that level of complexity does translate.
Sometimes I wonder if it weren't because of the repercussions, the moral repercussions of it, I would be a sucker for making experiments like that with humans. Like we see them represented in TV shows like Black Mirror, and so where we use fiction to simulate a situation where humans can be that would be interesting, but we don't really do them in real life.
Well, maybe we do. We just don't know about it.
I just think
so. Look at that.
I will sound like a monster, but I do think that it's so interesting to see the results because just researching the mind and how it works, it has me fascinated.
Don't you feel like we're already living in an experiment?
Maybe we are.
It doesn't necessarily mean that, maybe the whole planet is, but maybe that, or it's there's the simulation theory.
There's a simulation theory, but there's a theory I like more. The Sue theory. There's alien space out there, and they have decided not to reach us because we are not advanced enough, but also because they are watching us for amusement, like a zoo. And they
the zoo idea. Yeah.
Like they come and see how we behave and how we interact, and they ponder about it and they laugh at us and then they keep going.
Okay, I'm going to blow your mind. There's another theory.
Yeah.
Have you heard the dark forest theory?
Isn't dark forest real?
But dark forest.
Forest.
So the dark forest theory.
What is that?
Okay, so there's this idea that there are aliens, but they don't want to make contact with us because they already know that there's another alien force out there that's the most powerful, and that any type of contact with us would just like be turning a light on. And it's like being in a dark forest when there's like a predator. Okay. So it's like the universe is theoretically filled with intelligent life, but anyone who tries to make contact with us or shows any signs of life, the most dominant race will go towards them and conquer them.
Interesting.
So it's like, it's a dark forest. Because it's like anytime you make a noise, it's like the wolf will come and eat you, right? Like, I hear something, I need food, right? So it's like this idea that the universe,
everyone's afraid of something and they're hiding.
They're aware of this. There's a really great series. There's a great television show called Colony, and that show will blow your mind if you don't watch it. Just
Where is
Colony. It was on
it?
USA. That was the channel in the United States. So it's owned by, I believe it's probably on Peacock at this point.
Okay, here we have Peacock content here in Mexico. You want to know?
Maybe
It's Universal Plus.
That's a better name. But I think so. I don't know where it is now. But the show is called Colony, so you can find it. But in the movie starts off, and they're in Los Angeles. There's a family. There's a mom, her husband, and there's all this talk about them dealing with you're a collaborator, meaning like you're dealing with this outside force that's taken over Los Angeles, and you don't really know what's going on. And then you little by little realize that the whole Earth, all of Earth, has been taken over by aliens. But they were taken over within the battle lasted like 7 minutes.
Okay.
So it's like, and the way the aliens demonstrated their power was like there was a resistance in Dallas, and in Dallas is like just a sheet of glass, like because like their laser beams that they shot down, it's like it turned the entire like city into like just like glass. Okay. It just like flattened it, and then it didn't just flatten it turned it into glass. But this show will blow your mind. It's called Colony. And this guy, he's like a manly man, and he's like
going back to masculinity,
right? Well, but she's part of the resistance, and you find out in the very first episode he gets recruited to work for and you never see the aliens, but it's one of the most well written shows ever. You see the drones, but the drones are everywhere,
really good.
And they're like they're controlling everything. But guess what? You find out like there's this really pivotal scene. It's not really a spoiler I'm going to tell you because this is part of the dark forest idea.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah, spoiler. But there's a scene where you're so like invested in this story because the acting is so good. Like it just shows how good acting is because you never see the aliens, right?
Okay.
And they're talking to like this new government that's been installed by the aliens, and they're like, "You think we're bad?" They use that. You think they're bad? Like they're running from the other people, and you're like, wait, what? And so we find out that our corner of the entire galaxy is like the universe has been. They're running from this
something even bigger,
right? And but they like live for so long. There are episodes where they're talking about it, and the person who's in charge of the government says, "Well, it's hard to tell if they're happy with what we're doing because their perception of time is so dramatically different." And I was like, wow,
okay.
But the television show is it was like too smart for like your average audience.
Was it still ongoing or
no? It only ran for like 2 or 3 seasons.
But did they finish it or did they cancel it? Like, am I going to see a full idea completed?
You'll get to see it like realized enough. But the character that's Ben, I think is what the kid's name is. Okay. But I'm telling you, the acting in this is incredible. Just
have you ever seen the videos Smosh channel?
Yeah.
Yeah. This guy looks like a lot like.
I met them. I went to the very first VidCon. There was an event called VidCon. Mm-hmm. It's like a conference, and I went to the very first one, and I met them.
Wow.
Yeah, it was like the 2 guys. Yeah.
Ian and.
Are they still going?
They had an interesting story. I followed them for a long while. Uh-huh. So at one point, Defy Media bought the channel.
Okay.
And they bought a whole bunch of other channels. They became doing business in YouTube.
That's before
YouTube was a business.
Sure.
You know?
Right. Yeah.
And then this Defy Media thing, I think it what is the other guy's name? It's Ian and Anthony. Sorry, Anthony.
Early days of YouTube, right?
So Anthony and Ian split up. Okay. Ian stays with Smosh and Defy Media, and Anthony does his own thing.
Right.
And then Defy Media bankrupts or whatever.
It's so easy. People don't realize how easy it is for media companies to go bankrupt. Like with Warner Brothers, we don't realize they were literally on the verge of bankruptcy.
And you wouldn't believe it because they are making this billion-dollar movies.
Right. But like Game of Thrones is really what was the big part of it. Because Game of Thrones was so expensive. And it was like...
Didn't they make a lot of money back from it?
No.
Then why are they still making spin-offs of something?
Because that's what, have you noticed they're not stars? They're not, because the show was so expensive, everyone's salary. So they had to go back and restart from the beginning. and put it onto a streaming platform because of all the union requirements. The show became it was like $30-40 million per episode.
Yeah, I remember.
And it was like, but like 80% of the people that watch that show were watching it illegally. It was the most illegally watched show.
But I'm wondering, because I've noticed
this is before ads. You got to remember.
But I've noticed that
everyone's gonna have an ad tier. They call it FAST, free ad supported television. FAST.
Oh yeah.
So like Tubi is the example. Like Tubi is actually really doing well, even though there's so much random stuff on there. Tubi is really doing well because it's an example, and that's part of the reason why Netflix moved to create an ad tier.
Okay.
But go on, tell me what you were going to say.
I'm not sure.
Well, also this kind of plays into the idea of mainly too. It's like, what does winning look like? You know, it's because like I would never run ads. We're HBO. That was part of the thing. It's not television. It's HBO. And so the idea of them running ads was like so unthinkable.
Okay.
And I don't know. Do they have an ad tier now?
Yeah,
I think
HBO
so.
And they have an ad.
Okay, well there you go.
I think so.
In fact, I can't pause the damn thing because if I pause it, you give me an ad.
Right, but that's actually that's like ingenious marketing from their standpoint. Like if you pause it, it's like why not take advantage of that to show an ad?
What if I pause it because I want to see something in the screen, HBO?
I'm telling you, it's the same with Netflix. It's the same with all of them now.
I'm like, hey, did you look at? No, I
but
can't.
you're also describing the erosion of traditional media, like the power of traditional media.
Yeah, but what I was going to mention is I think streaming services, they didn't got rid of piracy, but I think they win it. Like I believe people find it more convenient to pay a Netflix subscription.
Absolutely.
That look online for them in the million websites where they can find the pirate movie.
Let me tell you something. Streaming was a direct response to piracy,
and I think it won.
Well, I think
there's always going to be piracy.
You know why it didn't though? Is because they've made it so hard to find the titles. Like certain titles, you can't find anywhere.
That's true.
You see what I'm saying? So
they want to watch a movie and it's nowhere on the
right. So it doesn't exist in physical media. So in a way, they've only amplified it. Does that make sense? So streaming was the response to piracy. So anyone who works deep in the business will tell you like that was because nobody wanted to go into that game because they also knew that it made piracy much easier, right? Because you know they still have a title, but like it's leaving soon. Well, it's already been copied by somebody and it's on the site. So it's a double-edged situation.
Okay.
But the only way is for like it to move forward is ad-supported model, because advertising will always
we're back to square one, and eventually there's going to be one service that's going to buy them all.
Well,
we're going to have TV again.
Okay. Well, there's an argument too that basically movies and television are going to be like songs, because it's not like this song is only available on Spotify. Like, could you imagine if Adele's like "Hello" was only available on one service?
Okay, interesting.
So, right? So it's like this idea where you have to license it everywhere. So I do think that television and film, it's going to end up becoming like music. No, if you think about it, that's not too crazy of an idea.
Well, I mean, we already have stuff like Stranger Things is only ever going to be on Netflix because it's a Netflix original. For now. You think it will go somewhere else?
Yep. Eventually, yes.
Okay. You're a wise man.
Because it's
you heard it here first.
Say what?
You heard it here first.
Yeah, you guys heard it here first. No one's going to have original, like, because they're going to have to end up playing the same game that everyone else is. Right? Okay. Because you could argue that they won the streaming wars, right? Because they really were the first, and they're still paying hundreds of millions of dollars to, what did they just pay? They just paid $600 million for what? What was it? It was some really big property. Do you remember that they paid $100 million to have like one more year of Friends before they launched HBO Max? Do you remember all that? So remember there was HBO Max, and then it was Max,
and then HBO Max, and then
okay, so that's part of that has to do with like, you know, the idea of like what is your brand identity. So we're seeing kind of the cracks in terms of like the foundation of like if nobody really knows anything. All we know is what we think is going to work, but consumer habits change so rapidly.
Is it Ben Affleck's startup? Or
no, they did pay $600 million for that. But they recently bought something. Somebody paid for something crazy recently, and I can't remember what it was. But they got the rights to something.
Oh.
But that's become almost like a traditional talking point. This idea of them acquiring stuff. But I did think it's going to go the other way, and the reason why is because we're going to have like why do people have like, for example, I use YouTube Music. And then other people use Spotify.
Mhm.
And then there are other people who use
Apple Music.
Apple. Exactly. So I've never used Apple Music. But I know people who are like, what? How could you not? That's the...
I prefer Spotify myself, but
right.
It's just a matter of choice because you have every music available in each of them, you know?
Well, and yeah, and so there's this idea that if everything is going to become ad supported, how do you differentiate your streaming services? Well, the reason that you do it through exclusive titles, but if at the end of the day, people are only going to pick one anyway.
Yeah, but then my question is, as I just goofed around in a second, if everything is available everywhere with ads, how is that really that different from TV? Did we just do all of this to go back to?
Well, that's just like society. Well, it's like, well, it's definitely the concept of history is cyclical, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I do think that everything looks, because we're always, the reason why things evolve the way they did too is because the unions in the United States, for all the actors, the directors, the editors, everybody, all the whole chain, it's so expensive to make a show. It's so crazy expensive. And so, but those contracts were designed, they were linked to being on broadcast. Mm-hmm. So by going to streaming, you could pay like a fraction of the amount of money in terms of residuals, right?
Okay.
That's why streaming was so attractive, right? Because it was like that idea.
Yeah, but it only works for what was filmed or broadcasted previous to streaming, because after streaming, the contracts are completely different, I must assume.
Right. And it's also different because stuff is constantly getting renegotiated. That's why you're seeing these strikes. And then they have to go back and be like, okay, well, that's why certain movies are nowhere. Mm-hmm. Because those particular titles, they don't have the authority to negotiate with the original author, or the original contract was like, this will never be, because they couldn't foresee. That's why the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, like that wasn't available anywhere for like the longest time. I think only recently. And I think there may even still be seasons that are not available because of the music inside of the episodes. They couldn't license it. Yeah. I'm just telling you, these are the kinds of things that people are dealing with. But taking it back to the home front, like everything is changing. So down from like the big business to the individual level. And so like being a man, for example, and back in the day, so much of it was like the Japanese samurai. So you saw this thing where like the hyper masculine dude who's like, like literally has a sword and is like a shogun. And then you have the modern Japanese man, which is some people might argue is from some of the content that you've seen too, is like this kind of almost effeminate type of dude.
Yeah. And he's the hero and he dresses nicely. And
he's like, and the girls are like, oh, I love him. But how do you think that what is that? And do you think that, are we seeing that pop up around the globe? And if you guys are just not joining us, they outright banned the effeminate man in media in China.
It is so interesting because I believe that if, of course, the only way of knowing this is testing it. But let's say we have a focus group of girls who are into Korean stuff and they love this.
We could easily find those. We could do a live and interview them.
But if
that'd be interesting.
And they may be like, "Ooh, I love this idol and he is so beautiful and blah 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 blah." And
yeah,
he is like this version of the pretty boy.
Sure.
In Korea. But what if we were to do that, but with Occidental actors? Western actors. Thank you. Exact same thing. Exact same. Even a man.
Sure.
Acting and behaving in that exact same way, but with the Western culture. Do you think it'll be as attractive?
I think it's taking off. I think there's been like an effort to sideline it, to not make it mainstream, because I know what you're saying. It's like, because in Korean culture, it's become, we should probably pull up a picture of like the Korean, the perfect face dude. Because it's, so we have the Japanese guy. This idea of how rapidly, there's a video that some guy, his name is Ken LaCourte. He's really good. You should check him out. But he did a video, it's like what happened to Japanese men. And it's not like a negative thing. He's just saying like literally what happened. Like how did we get here? But I think that the same thing is, so this idea of it happening.
Beautiful Korean men.
Wouldn't you argue that kind of Jared Leto kind of falls into that little of an idea of the pretty man?
Maybe at first in his career. In fact, there is a movie called, why am I telling you this like it's not a very famous movie? The Fight Club. I'm pretty sure his character is called Babyface. Jared Leto's character, because he just has a baby face.
But was that Edward Norton's character?
No, Edward Norton is the main guy.
Yeah, this is Jared's Leto.
Jared Leto played Babyface, and I'm sure it's gonna pop up in here in a second.
Oh, okay, got it.
Yeah.
Like a,
Fight
it was a minor character, but it was like the kind of character you remember.
Okay.
You know.
So
I'm not sure if it's ever
Yeah,
gonna.
let me put it up.
You're good. But I do think that it's coming for the West. I think that right now, because think about the way countries define themselves too. Like a big part of what's happening in the United States is that they're defining themselves almost through, and maybe they haven't historically, but in an increasingly modern world, it feels like the military is almost like a defining characteristic. Yeah, I mean, he's definitely always been like considered pretty, let's say, right?
Yeah.
He's always had like this.
But even him now, he has like the beard and the roles he portray
And allegations against him.
Yeah, they're brand new, right? They just came out this week.
They're relatively new. There have been some that were floating around, but also I think he was in a lot of flops, and I do think that the same thing happened with some other big figures in media. Like whenever you stop bringing in that amount of money, like your PR system that protects you falls apart.
Oh God.
So like for the Weinstein Company, for example, that only really happened once his movies stopped making money. So you had all these individual investors who were angry at him.
Because at the end of the day, they were on the show, right?
Right. Well, I mean, the idea that it's all about money, you know, so he's been in several movies that didn't work, like Blade Runner 2049, the Tron movie. He was like the villain.
Lead.
Right. So all these different movies he was in that did not work.
And this last one that I actually love, he didn't even show his face, but he's the main
and then
bad guy.
Morbius didn't work.
Morbius didn't work, but that was, I mean, Jared, if you're saying this, you should have known. It's morbing time.
I love it.
What do you mean? You say it's moving time?
No, it's morbing time. It was the gag, the meme.
Oh, kind of like Mighty Morphin Power Rangers?
Yeah, so the movie's called Morbius.
Okay.
So there was a meme
that
the Morbius character said in the movie, "It's morbing time," before he transformed.
Oh, he actually
this
said it?
never occurs.
Okay.
But it became a joke pretending it happened.
Okay, so then people were judging this thing that never even occurred.
Yeah.
That's so 2020s though.
Yeah.
Like this idea of us mocking something that never even happened.
And then we make it real with AI.
Well, exactly. Well, have you heard? Do you know what a straw man argument is?
Straw man.
Okay.
Oh, the man who sticks.
Well, there's a new movie. There's a new trailer that just dropped yesterday about a Wicker Man. But a straw man argument is, let's say that we're on a debate, right? We're debating each other, and I want to make.
Aren't we?
I mean, we can. You can pick a time. Yeah, I mean, we probably have plenty of things to talk about. And also I think how you debate too is like how you perform masculinity goes into how you debate too. Because some people are so aggressive, right? And other people are just like, it's like, I'll use my wits, you know, and I'll, you know, it's like a drag queen versus like a muscle man or, you know what I mean? The extremes, right? But
stick man. No,
straw man. Thank you. So the straw man is like, I take your idea and I boil it down to like a dumber or a more simpler version for the audience to understand. And then I assassinate that thing that I've created. They do it all the time. So like, you're like, you say something about like, so-and-so should be able to, you know, do blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, oh, so you're telling me, and then I take an example that's like really ridiculous. Maybe it's plausible, but I make a mockery of your idea, and it falls under your general ideology. And then I attack that thing.
Okay. Like the simplified version of it.
Right. Like transgender bathrooms. It's so easy to turn that into a straw man argument. I get it, but it's, for example, because I'll talk about like an adult man just walking into a bathroom full of little kids, and then I'll say, you know, that's like that's so crazy that you would allow that. And I get the audience on my side because I'm telling everybody like how crazy that you are to accept that. Because in theory, that's plausible. Because that person could say, I identify, right? As a woman, you know what I mean? Yeah. So we do it all the time. It's called a straw man argument. And it's one of like the many, many logical fallacies. We have fallacies that we tell ourselves, but there's also like, if you learn debate, it's like a way to so you want to be hopefully intellectually honest with your debate, but people often are not.
Yeah. Right? They want to win.
Right. It's like this idea to win. So, you know, where is the public debate? Where is the public discourse in society today? Because if we're all, the way we've done it is we've gone to.
The problem is that it's everywhere. It's in social media. It's outside of the street, but we never amount to anything. Like, yeah, we are all arguing and discussing about several different topics, but we don't amount to a solution or to a resolution even of our ideas. We just complain and we keep going.
Who are you complaining to?
When I complain on social media, I guess to everyone and no one.
Okay. So
No, I'm just angry about this particular
but
stuff.
is it like a story or is it like a permanent thing? Like whenever you're having a, like, let's say a societal upset, you feel like you need to say something, or you have a statement about something, or do you feel like increasingly less people care because it's like do you know what I'm saying? Or do you ever have the conversations in person? My point is that if the world is radically changing around us, it seems like it is changing around us, but we don't have a place to talk about it. We don't have a place to actually have a meaningful conversation because everyone is so sidelined.
More than that, I think the more it's like the positive and the negative of a platform like YouTube. What was YouTube's first little tagline underneath? Broadcast yourself.
There you go.
Yeah. So I was there. So everyone begins to say their opinions and say their ideas, and then there's more, and then there's more, and then there's more. When before the internet, we just had this few channels with all their filters telling us how we should feel about stuff. Sure. And we listen.
Right.
But now everyone is talking, and now your voice is going to be less heard because it's lost in this immense sea of other voices. And you just need to swim and talk louder or be more attractive or have something.
Or controversial. Like you have to create like a level of.
And once you have people's attention, you need to keep it because they can just scroll to the next guy before you even finish.
Do you think, like, for example, these cultures, this is why we were talking about Spider-Man and some of these movies. Like, I think for me, it feels like that makes a whole lot of sense why Spider-Man is so successful is because it's inherently like not controversial. Was there anything in there that was controversial?
Absolutely not.
Right. So it's like anything that's even could potentially, like the conflict has to be completely contrived. It's not going to divide the audience, right? It's going to be something so trivial that no one would actually take it seriously.
Yeah, in terms good versus bad, and the good one is right.
Right. So, and the idea that it's like it's a 14-year-old or a 20-year-old, or he's 30 now, or almost he's 30. But when
he's my age, he's 29. The guy,
I think he's 30 now. He's 30 now.
Oh, really?
He is.
But he's portraying like a 22, 20.
Right. But my point is that he's like, I think we watch that because it's Peter Pan syndrome, because we don't need to actually project any societal needs onto him, like, because he's not fully like a man, right? He doesn't have children. He's not like, with great power comes great responsibility, sure. But there's always some menace, just, or something happens and everyone has amnesia or whatever it is. I've seen all the scripts before. Yeah. I don't even know which one they went with. But they come up with something, they kind of like, oh, what do you do? That's fun. It's great. It's like, and I think we've actually figured out how to make a perfect superhero movie that probably is closest to what it's going to be from what I'm hearing. But it's also like a requirement that it's like he needs to be like a little kid. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know if like Batman or Superman can demand that level of money, And I think even like Barbie was like a phenomenon. I wonder if we're going to have another, like they didn't rush to make Barbie 2, right?
I just heard the news that they were trying, but they didn't want to pay, Warner didn't want to pay that much money because both Margot Robbie and Ryan Gosling were like asking for a lot. Also Mattel, if they wanted to do a second one, they were like asking for far more money. And maybe Barbie is beyond what Warner can afford now.
That's a good point. But I also think, I don't know if it's necessarily conducive to a sequel either, because it's
the way it closes. But that's so weird these days. Like everything out there is a sequel for something. I was just talking to a friend and I was thinking, I think eventually, I hope it happens before I die, I'm going to have a sequel to everything, even if it's from 50 years ago. I'm going to see some sort of sequel today. I'm going to see a continuation of everything I thought it was closed. Your favorite TV show from 30 years ago, it's going to have a revival. I promise you, eventually.
Well, I mean, yes, potentially. Or the other side of that argument is that sequels are actually like a sign of an industry that's like difficult, having a real difficult time to retain its audience. So the only thing is, but eventually the sequels are not going to work. It's like Disney remaking everything, like Moana.
Here's what I see it's going on.
And tell me.
I don't know if there are.
You guys don't forget to like the video. Y'all let us know your comments.
If you're liking this conversation, please don't forget to subscribe and like it.
Well, there's so much stuff out there. There's so much noise. So it's like we're finding our voice too. So
here's what I'm thinking. I think Hollywood, or whatever you want to call it, is not afraid of new stories. It's just afraid of branding new names. I'm going to use two examples, both from Warner Brothers, by the way.
Okay, go for it.
The Joker, the first Joker movie that came in 2019. Was it that long ago?
Which one are you talking about?
The first one.
Oh,
the
it
one
was
that's just
20,
called
I think it was
Joker.
2019 or 2018.
with
Yeah.
Joaquin
A little while ago.
Phoenix.
Joaquin Phoenix, yeah.
Yeah. So that movie had no need to be the Joker, the Batman villain.
Right. It could
It's
have
a
been
story about a guy who's having struggles and he works as a clown. You know,
Right.
you can just name it something else, call the guy something else, have it happen in a different city.
Yeah.
And it's its own original thing. They just slapped the name Joker in it because they are afraid of making original stuff.
Yeah.
And I would make the same argument for a new show that I'm actually loving. Stuart Fails to Save the Universe, which is a spin-off of The Big Bang Theory.
It's funny because we had someone yesterday who was like, I can't stand that show. And I'm like, I understand.
I'm loving it. I'm loving the show. But
yeah. Well, I mean, I haven't seen the new show, but they were saying they didn't like the previous show. But that was a real big hit, cultural hit.
But then again, it is its own different thing about multiversal travel and stuff. But they are taking the side characters from The Big Bang Theory and slapping The Big Bang Theory name in it,
right?
Because they are afraid of doing original stuff.
Yeah.
They are masquerading original stuff by slapping, hey, it's not original. It's a spin-off of this thing you like.
It's like, for example, if we had Zendaya on here, we'd have like a million people watching, right? But it's like this idea of using people that already have like a built-in audience. So I would say it's the same idea of having like it's a celebrity and IP, like intellectual property. But you're 100% right. But I do think that even that is like a steam engine that's going to run out of steam too.
You think?
Yeah.
Because we could just
think about it, like religion. Okay. Like just like religion used to control everything, and then like little by little it lost its control over society.
That's true.
So I think it's like, look at the Catholic Church. It literally decided like why Latin America is divided up in the way that it is. Every single city center had the cathedral, the basilica, the church, and the erosion. Like everything can be eroded, everything. So it's like if something that big. Even when England broke away from the church, the Catholic Church, that was a huge deal. And it was because he wanted to keep marrying all these different wives. And it was not for the right reasons, let's say. But he established the Church of England. And then the Puritans wanted to separate from him. And then that's why we have basically North America the way that it is. And why some of these, unique, puritanical ideas still persist is because of like the tradition that was set by the Puritans. This idea of people being so like radically, conservative, let's say. But I do think that all of these cultural products are going to be like they're going to keep trying to remix them. But think about like Harley Quinn not working, like Birds of Prey, or the squad. There's different. I'm not going to say the name, but the different squads. Like they didn't work, and so the idea it makes sense that each derivative product is going to like run out of steam. And so how do you regain that, especially with the rise of the ability? Let's say that if I really wanted to go out and make a great movie, it does make sense that if I would, it's a safer bet for me to go and pay. You're right, to get the rights to be like, okay, this is one of these side characters from a comic, versus it being a completely original. Let's say he's a vigilante or something, or he's whatever. But I do think you're right. But I think it's also like a symptom of them losing like the plot, or like the cultural hegemony of being able to demand our attention. And I think like Spider-Man is like I feel like it's going to be one of the last movies that has the ability to pull us in. Because like, who's going to take over that? They couldn't do it with Captain America.
No. With the new guy, no.
Right. But was that because it was stunt casting? Well, what was the issue there? And,
I think it's just charisma.
Sure.
Just Chris Evans has better charisma and more of a leading role than the new guy, Anthony Mackie.
Yeah.
Great actor, by the way. I'm not saying he can't.
Sure.
There's a movie about where he's a leading man, where he's portraying a struggling, low-class black man in the 80s or something, and he's like a salesman, and he's making this. That is a really good movie, and he gets rich at the end. Sorry, that's why I didn't say the name of the movie.
Okay. What is it? I mean,
I don't remember the name of it, but it was really good.
Okay.
And that's just a perfect role for the guy, but he doesn't have the charisma of Captain America.
Well, that goes into also what is the idea of like a manly man? Like who can embody Captain America? You got to have certain qualities to classify as being that level of. It's like a representation of America itself, but also like it's ideal
a representation
man
of what America wants to be.
Exactly, but that's my point. Is it's still a symbolic.
Yeah.
So the idea of, because even him, it's like it's not about really race. It's more about like you said, charisma. Because it's almost like you needed more like a Will Smith type character pre-slap. you know? Right?
I'm so angry because I really wanted to see Aladdin 2. And it is because of that slap that we're not getting it. At least not now.
I don't know. I'm not the biggest fan of the live remakes. I'm not against them, but I don't.
I liked Aladdin. You see it? You see Aladdin?
I don't think I did.
I didn't like Beauty and the Beast. I didn't like Cinderella. I loved Aladdin. The live action version, I thought it was good.
Yeah.
It was probably because of Will Smith.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I love the original too much to go see it, like with Robin Williams playing the genie. I just loved that. I just thought he was so incredible.
He plays it so differently.
Yeah, that's good. I mean, he actually seems like an actual, if you think about it, like an obvious choice in terms of his goofiness from Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
That's exactly, because there had been a long while since Men in Black that Will Smith had been goofy.
Mm-hmm.
And this movie just allowed him to go back to just be fun and whip around, because I don't know what's going on in his personal life, but he seems miserable all the time.
Well, there's that. And then also like his children, his children, the way they perform gender has been highly like a big point of topic. But they're both like adults now.
Yeah.
But like the son is like very androgynous and the daughter is like almost male leaning in terms of some of the stuff that she does now. Okay. So and even with Ben Affleck's children, it's been that case where there's been so it's very interesting. I think that we're seeing the reason why a lot of people don't want to have kids too is because we don't really know necessarily how to, usher our children into adulthood without them experiencing all this gender dysphoria, the stuff don't you think that that's a real thing?
I was about to ask,
like the richest, most insulated people, you would think that they could control the plot, but even they can't do it.
Yeah. Like here, you probably know more about me. So I want to ask you, because I want to know your opinion, because talking about masculinity, and now that we're talking about Hollywood and actors and Will Smith.
Yeah, go for it.
We are seeing, I just read the news where the daughter of Mission Impossible guy,
Tom Cruise.
Tom Cruise
she just dropped her name.
Changed the last name, and I believe the same thing just happened to the kids of Angelina Jolie and Brad Pitt.
Yeah,
and something tells me we're going to continue to see this trope more and more often.
It's interesting that we're already calling it a trope when it's like you guys, YouTube starts suggesting us because we're talking about deep stuff. YouTube's algorithm. Because it's real. Because
why is this happening? You have like maybe not every insight, but
no, I do. I sit and think about these things for sure. I think it has to do with like the loss of the traditional. For example, people used to get married, right, to protect their family's wealth and for their lineage, right?
Yeah.
So the idea of romantic love is a relatively new idea. It really is.
For it.
Well, you could argue that it's not really love, it's lust, right? Because there was like family love. Like love has been expressed all the way going back to ancient Greece and even like prehistory. Like anything that was written down, there's some, maybe even in Gilgamesh, there was some element of love, but it wasn't necessarily like the way that we know love now. Because even Helen, she was the face that launched 1,000 ships. It was because of beauty, not romantic love.
That is correct.
Right? So there's a difference. So I think that as we've moved away from this idea of like, we understood the classic human, understood the importance of the family lineage. But I think the modern human, it's like we've lost the plot. And so I think we're living in a society where you can define anything, you can decide anything, everything's up for grabs. This is a natural byproduct of everything being a selection. Okay. So it's like if you don't even get to pick your own last name, that seems like the ultimate, even your gender, right? It's like, I need to be able to pick my gender. So, but if there are only two, then I'm going to pick the other one.
Yeah, but now it's really hard to talk about this gender topics without.
But it's not just
being controversial, because every idea you may have or I may have, it's not going to suit right for a third person.
I don't think I don't think I'm saying anything really that's all that controversial. No, but I think that but my point is that being able to pick everything, it's like in the United States, there's like 50 brands of toothpaste. I mean, there's like 100 types of shampoo. It's also creating this illusion of choice. They're not really different. They're all the same corporations, and they're very slightly different. But I don't think I'm not against anyone being. I think people should be able to do whatever. But the problem with that is that then you have a society that's increasingly, they're not going to have kids, and everyone's going to be a bit confused. So it is interesting. I think I see what you're saying. But I think that's probably built into the argument, is to make it impossible to talk about.
Yeah, it's really impossible to talk about stuff because you don't know who you are going to piss You know?
Well, I don't think anyone thinks I have a bad intent, right? Or anything like that. You know, I don't think anyone's like, oh, he has an agenda. I'm really just thinking, because you're asking me what's my theory?
Yeah.
What's my ultimate theory? I think the theory is that the reason why someone like, you know, if someone who's that famous, also you have to remember, I remember when she was born, it was so crazy. And then you know, Katie like disappeared. There's a picture of Tom Cruise in the middle of the street. He was like crossing the street and it had him. He just like looked like this. It was like all over everything. And that was like one of the most paid for paparazzi pictures of all time. And it was just like had him in this daze, like the guy who had everything, like lost everything in an instant, you know, because she just like had to escape because of the church and and so I do think that it is a trend. And I don't necessarily see it slowing down. I think it's going to happen more and more.
Yeah.
But that's why we talk about like these dystopian futures, because in almost all dystopian futures, the government controls reproduction. Like they decide, and even in like Aldous Huxley's Brave New World, women don't even have babies. They're like born in these like matrix like test tubes. Yeah. Whereas in like 1984 from George Orwell, they're women and the men, they're together, right? But the government decides who your wife is going to be, but they make sure that y'all don't have any affinity for each other. They make sure that y'all don't really even like each other.
And what's the point of that?
Because any alliance to any one individual is not an alliance to the state. So it's like part of romantic love, like going back to the days of Romeo and Juliet, was like highlighting how, because even they had to pay the ultimate price, right? So Romeo and Juliet is an example. He was actually very like, because he talks about like the tragedy of the human emotion in general, but basically like their societal systems had to fail if they were going to succeed, because like the Montagues and the Capulets were like the rivaling families, right? So it's like if they were going to marry, it's like what would there just be peace and harmony? No, like that's part of how they define their existing society within that fictional world. So like they had, for them to exist, for them to love each other, they had to die, right? Inside the play. So let's say that they were like, got to, what happens? They get married and have kids, and then, but what if they fall out of love? You know?
Yeah. What happens after happily ever after in all those stories?
Right.
Because nothing is happily ever after.
I think we're seeing as a society, we are living, and what happens after someone says, okay, happily ever after, we're dealing with the ramifications of it.
Interesting. Yeah.
Like the results of plenty, which is like how the Calhoun effect, where it's like, so then we're kind of
like to explain the Calhoun effects to our audiences.
Yeah, well, it's like where you have these rats had everything that they needed, and then they lost all the desires for like basic functions beyond like, and then they just died out. Yeah. So with Gen Z not wanting to have kids, for example, do you know people who are your age who are like, how many of your friends are having kids?
Not as many as probably a few generations back. As opposed to previous generations, I think we are able to keep in touch with our friends from high school or even before that because of social media. I may not live in the same town as my friends.
That was the original point of social media, was to like look back.
But now I like, they kind of keep growing with me. I didn't stop seeing them after high school because they were here all the time. So I can tell you about all of their lives.
Right.
And some of them got married. Some of them had kids as soon as they finished high school. Some of them are like me and continue single. It varies a lot, but at least I can tell you that not every man and women married and had kids. Like maybe a few generations back, we would have seen.
That was like a given.
Yeah, now it's like everybody's doing their own stuff. Some of them don't even want to get married. Some don't want to have kids. Some have kids outside of marriage, you know?
Yeah, I think kids are a really complicating factor. And I think that we've seen it done poorly, maybe by previous generations. And so it's a lot of, there's so many people like baby boomers, a lot of the baby boomers had really messy divorces. Not everybody. Like, are your parents still together?
No, they got divorced when I was like 10, and it was a norm back then. Like, again, going back to my house,
it was already normal.
It was weird to have a classmate with both of their parents together. But it's really funny.
Isn't that so like sad, but also like it establishes how quickly a new norm can be ushered into society. Do you think that like do you feel like your mom and dad, do you think that part of it was the erosion of gender roles? Because I will tell you, like, just
repeat the question for me.
Like the erosion, like the disappearing of gender roles, because people make the argument,
Mhm.
and I'm not like a, you know, this there's all these new trends that are on the internet, like, you know, whatever bizarre, you know, obsessions with gender roles. I do think that gender roles actually can be a stabilizing factor in a society.
Okay.
Right. But it doesn't mean that you have to subscribe to like some strict confines. It's more like we need to decide, like you were telling me earlier, you were saying that, you know, if the woman wants to work and the man wants to work, there's like family planning that goes in there. And then whenever the time comes,
we can have the plan when to have a baby.
Right. We'll kick in the plan. But there's this, as society becomes increasingly unaffordable and all these different things, and then the liberties of women that came in during the 50s and the 60s, it's like we're dealing with the results of that. Because if there are no, you know, gender roles, then naturally the next step is the collapse of the nuclear family.
The question is, what comes after? Like, is the collapse of the nuclear family a bad thing? Or maybe it is, maybe it isn't, but we will need to see a few years down the line.
Do you feel like your parents getting divorced at 10 affected you negatively? Or were you like, yay,
here's what
divorced, I think. I'm so happy.
Of course it was devastating.
You guys don't forget to like the video if you're new here.
Of course, me and my sister were devastated. We were 10 and they were telling us, hey, we were splitting.
Yeah.
I was like, no, I want you guys together. You're mom and dad.
Right.
But then looking back, it was the best decision they could have made. Okay. They were not good for each other.
So they were like, there was constant fighting?
They were fighting all the time. My mom, I don't want to talk trash about my beautiful mother, whom I love.
Sure. Yeah.
She basically, she wanted to marry this guy, and she did everything she could to marry this guy.
And he wasn't necessarily into it.
Of course, they fell in love, I believe, down the line. But the way they got together and how at least he was forced in a way to stay with her.
So you feel like it was like the baby trap?
Again, I'm just going to tell the story. Yeah. They don't, my parents don't know English anyway.
No, this is interesting. This is what people, I think, want to watch. They want to hear our truths, right?
Hear this out. This is a telenovela.
Speak your truth.
Drop the tea.
I'll be your Oprah.
Because I'm going to tell you the story as I learn it.
Yeah.
And I learn it with gaps. I knew pieces of the story, and as I grew older,
in front of us,
they revealed the truth to me.
Okay, yeah.
So this is what I knew.
Yeah.
Mom and dad met.
Okay.
Mom and dad sleep outside of marriage.
Okay. Which is so sinful at one point, and now it's like, well, everyone's doing it. Yeah.
So mom's family was super against this. So my mom was really afraid of his dad. They are from a small town in Tabasco, Mexico.
So your mom's parents were very against her relationship because it was
about having sex outside of marriage.
Right.
That entire.
Isn't that funny? That's almost laughable now.
Yeah.
But yeah. So just a few years back, that was like sinful.
Absolutely.
And there are still obviously some people who still see that. I get that.
Yeah. So she was so scared, and she told me that she got psychological pregnancy. It has a name.
Yeah, phantom pregnancy.
Phantom pregnancy.
Where you're not really pregnant.
So
I'm phantom.
She was pregnant, so she told my dad, "Hey, I'm pregnant."
Sure.
And then they had to get married because grandpa on mom's side was like, "Dude, you impregnate my daughter. You have to marry her." And then they were like, "Okay, on my father's side, grandma was like, okay, son, marry her, have the kid. And then you divorce her and we see how we give them money or something." But then soon before they were about to get married, it turns out it was just a phantom pregnancy.
And so he's like, oh, hell no.
So this is like, no, I'm not going to get married with you.
Wow.
But that was all I knew.
When did you learn that? How long ago?
That was early. I mean, I learned this, but that at the end of the day, they chose to stay together anyway.
Sure.
And then they had me and then they had my sister. So then I grow.
Okay.
And one day my grandma is just pouting because my dad's getting remarried.
Right now?
You know, like a few months back.
Okay, yeah.
He just got remarried and
so he took some time between his first.
Like 20 years.
Okay, so he spent 20 years alone.
I mean, I wouldn't say alone. He had
girlfriends
here and there.
But he'd never gotten married.
Remarried.
Do you think this is the one for him?
I'm happy that this is the one he got to choose. He was
because the first time around
he was a terrible husband to my mom.
Sure.
In any way he could be a terrible man, he was.
Okay. Yeah.
And well, we can discuss
Tell us how you really feel.
much I feel about that.
No, that's real. I think people need to hear that too, because I think so many people are walking around with baggage and they don't feel like they have anywhere to put it. So I think people are gonna be like, okay, I'm glad that
That's
I'm not the only one is feeling that way.
But now that I know the true story that I'm about to tell you,
Sure.
now I can say, okay, yeah, he was terrible, but he couldn't choose. He was kind of forced to
Trapped.
be.
He was like trapped in a situation.
And I'm saying forced, like he wasn't really forced. You know what?
Sure. There weren't like stormtroopers, but I get what you're saying. It was like society.
So now I'm thinking maybe he's going to be a good husband to this one because he chose to marry her whenever he wanted to.
Sure.
You know?
Mm-hmm.
So only time will tell. But so here's the real deal.
Yeah, tell me. Tell us the tea.
Mom was never pregnant. She knew she was never pregnant. She faked that pregnancy because she wanted to marry him. When they found out that she wasn't pregnant and he was not going to marry her now, she tried to kill herself. She drank a bottle of pills.
Wow.
They went to the hospital. She did everything in her power to have my dad be her husband.
So she was head over heels for him.
Yeah.
Is he like a Casanova? He's
me. He looks just like me, dude.
You got stuff going on?
Yeah, sure.
Do you have brother? I mean, do you have siblings?
What? Do I have siblings?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I have a sister.
So you said 2.
Yeah. Well, now I learned this, and my father, of course, marries her after she did her
routine.
Yeah.
So she really. Why did she fixate on him out of all people? Do you think?
I was not there, so I couldn't. But
so she's never like kind of owned up to this. You said your grandmother was going off about it.
Yeah, grandma told me about this.
Grandma spilled the tea.
Mom keeps telling me the story that it was a phantom pregnancy.
Phantom pregnancy. Yeah.
So I learned this, and then I remember back when I was a kid. Again, my dad I don't want to put him on a pedestal or anything. He was a bad husband.
But what about being a dad?
What?
He was a bad husband. Was he a bad dad?
I don't think he was a bad dad. He still is. He is, I don't know how to say it in English because it's so grounded in Spanish. So if I say it in Spanish, will people understand us?
Yeah.
Es muy regañón.
Yeah.
Es muy gritón.
He gets critical and yells
super fast.
He's just generally irritated.
He used to punch us when I was a kid. He used to punch us and stuff. The belt, that's how I was.
Rob is here. He's a big guy he's a big donor from Jimmy Explorers. And so he's hold on to that thought. He said, my mom grew up in the 1940s. She had 12 siblings. Her father was very strict. He would beat them when they found them talking to a boy. The whole father was not even their whole father was not even married to her mother.
The whole time was not.
The whole time. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Rob, I'm so glad you're here. Thank you for being here.
Yeah,
thank you for supporting the channel.
Hey, Rob.
So Rob, he's a big donor because we lost our house back in the USA, and so Rob was there to he's a big supporter of the channel. So he's amazing.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Rob. Thank you for sharing that from the 1940s.
And of course, there's a lot of stuff from both of them that I can complain about growing up. But as an adult, I do see back at those times, and I do genuinely believe they were doing the best they could with what they believe was
right.
Even if my dad was
when did you come to peace with that?
Once I had to struggle with being an adult myself, paying for stuff. I mean, if I can barely handle myself, just imagine having 2 kids and a wife.
Right.
So
I mean, of course he was. Of course he was. So he's irritable and mad at and like it doesn't stand for stuff because it's like he was like kind of forced into play a role in life and in his home life. And also, isn't that the ultimate role? Like even when you're like alone, it's like you're still having to play a role that you didn't sign up for.
Thank you, Rob, by the way.
Thank you, Rob. Thank you so much, Rob.
Yeah, thank you so very much. Oh,
thank you.
That's right.
Thank you, Rob, for those 50.
Thank you, Rob. Thank you.
Are they pesos? Are they dollars?
Dollars, yeah.
Wow,
yeah.
$50.
I'm telling you, like this. Thank you, Rob. Appreciate you so much. Thank you for supporting as we find our voice. You guys give us feedback too, because I was like, should we go Oprah route? Because this is interesting because we all have our stuff we got to talk about.
Of course. And again, I think back and I think he was doing, even if the idea was to, beating fathers beating down their kids.
It's so crazy that it was so normal for so long.
But I was thinking, have you ever seen the show with Pedro Pascal, HBO Max, The Last of Us?
No, I can't you believe I haven't seen it.
There is a line in there that hits so hard, it hits so home.
Yeah, tell me.
So dad is beating up kid, and kid has a brother, and the father, after beating up the brother, goes back and says, you know, I know that what you're seeing, you think I'm doing something terrible. That you see me and you think I'm some sort of monster.
Right.
But you have no idea what your grandpa did to me.
Right. Like
You can't
comparatively,
even imagine what. So
100%.
So
that's why when I hear about Alfonso,
but here's the.
I'm like, oh, if you didn't know what happened to me, you'd be like,
So trust me when I'm telling you, I'm doing a little better, and I hope that you do a little bit better than me. And I think, isn't that the point? Yes.
Yeah, that's really good. That was a beautiful interpretation. He pulled me into the scene.
Yeah.
No, I like that. Yeah, that was great. So is that Pedro Pascal's line?
Well, it's Pedro Pascal's father line, and then he says the same thing to his daughter.
So it's like a flashback.
Yeah.
I think he's an interesting character too, because there's a lot of talk inside of Hollywood. They're like, just come out already.
And he's always like a father figure in most of these things.
Well, it's because he's very like straight passing, you know?
Mm.
But that
He
idea.
has this perfect idea of a masculine male who has stuff
No wife
figured
and no
out.
children, though.
Yeah.
So there's kind of, no, there's nothing wrong with that. But my point is that there was a time in Hollywood where they would have been like, they used to take you back, because I've worked in that agency system and all that kind of stuff, where they were like, they wouldn't allow you to get to that level of fame because there's all this, you know. But now a society is so accepting, it's kind of like not really a point. You know, it's like we're not worried about it as much. I'm curious because it's like our celebrities used to be the heroes of society, right? They were like the representation of like what is a man or a woman. And I think that we're dealing with that now because we don't have the same role models. So we don't have the same heroes anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that's a legitimate, like, do you think it should be a concern? And if not, then what, is there anything that needs to, like, what replaces that? You know, who's the next Brad Pitt?
Yeah, I know what you're saying, but I mean, I'm not sure if we were ever going to get like just one guy or one person to be the next embodiment. Yeah. It's like Brad Pitt was synonymous with handsome, manly. His name may have been in the dictionary next to handsome, manly man. You know, he was the example.
Exactly. Welcome, Rob.
Thank you, Rob.
I remember.
I'm not sure if we're ever going to get
Thank you, Rob.
that again. I think we're just going to have multiple. Like, there's no next Michael Jackson.
Right.
And I don't think there will be. But we have amazing Bruno Mars. We have amazing different artists that are really good themselves. But no one is going to be the next Michael Jackson.
Right. I guess, do you think that, like, in terms of like a cultural like breakout, like hit, like it kind of feels like there are more voices in the mix, but the idea of somebody breaking out of the noise and becoming, like, you know, for like the agents and the managers and the publicists and for all the different, like the Hollywood economy that's been built around these big, if they're not that big, they can't have as big of a team. So I'm always curious if it's sustainable as we go forward, because there are some people that feel like they're very safe bets and they can open up movies.
If this new person is going to come out, I don't think it's going to be from Hollywood. So we were talking about
that's fair.
You know, for how long can you continue making prequels and having these characters from different universes being this new thing?
Yeah.
And Hollywood is afraid of doing something original.
Sure.
But as I was just mentioning, YouTube broadcast yourself. You just have all these people making content, and there's so many stuff that eventually something is going to pop out of the rest.
Right.
We just had an amazing movie by Curry Barker, Obsession.
Yes.
He's a YouTube guy who's been making YouTube shorts, who make a small budget movie that is the next big breakout. Right. And everyone is loving the girl.
From Obsession.
Yeah. The main girl. I don't remember her name. Indy Navarrete. Yes.
Yeah.
Fun fact, I'm the voice of the character Ian in Obsession in the dubbed version.
Way to go.
Wow.
Is it the guy? Is he the main guy?
I'm not the main guy. I'm the friend.
Okay. No, I can't believe it.
You will really like it.
I know Gen Z was like really like identifying with it because it's like an idea, because it seems so foreign to someone like in their 40s, like a whole movie about someone who's afraid to go out with someone, and he's like, but I get it at the same time, because I think in today's world that all those anxieties are like amplified.
Yeah, he was about to, but he chickened out. So he grabbed these toys and he was like, boy,
did someone give it to him, or did he buy it from like
bought it for her?
A trinket
it was a gift for her.
And she didn't want it?
She's into like this
witchy stuff.
stuff.
Okay.
But he was like gonna give it to her and tell her how he felt,
Mhm.
and she was like, are you into me? Like, if you're into me, it's now. Tell me if you're into me." And he chickened out. So
he
he doesn't say it. So she leaves. They're in the car. She leaves, and he is there frustrated of himself.
because she really gave him the moment to say it. Did she make it clear she wasn't into him, or did she leave it ambiguous?
To me, it was clear she wasn't.
Okay.
But
well,
it
then
was
that
ambiguous enough.
Okay.
You know,
where he should have just come out with it, and
that
then
maybe had he said it,
it could have manifested into something.
Yeah. We will never know because
Right.
he didn't say it. You know?
Right. And that's good filmmaking, right? That's good script, right?
So in his frustration, he grabs a toy that he doesn't give to her, and since the toy is to make wishes,
Right.
that's the point. It's like, I wish.
I think he breaks
she
it inside
loved
the
me
box,
more.
right? He doesn't even open it out.
No, he opens it and he breaks the thing.
Oh, okay.
Because he opens it because it's important for the plot that a music sounds when he opens it, because it comes later in the film.
It's like a motif or something.
Not a
Okay.
motif, but that music sounding when the thing is being opened.
Okay.
It's something important for you to know as an audience.
Okay, got
Right.
it. Like this spell has been cast, or this spell
Something
has been
like,
broken.
This is about to be done because you hear
Okay.
the music. Someone opened it.
Okay. Okay, got it.
So,
I know he tries to call like the number, and they're
yeah, and it doesn't work.
like, like the wish is fulfilled until you die.
You die. No.
Yeah. So did you feel like it was groundbreaking cinema, or was it just that this was like we're going out and we're supporting the Gen Z filmmakers?
It wasn't groundbreaking. It was just original and good.
Right.
Period. I remember saying, of course, I recorded
because it made a lot of money. Yeah.
And I recorded. I didn't.
You didn't think it was going to be as that big
it
of
was
a.
just like a little movie. The format, it's not even like square. It has like bars on the sides. So I go to the cinema theater, hoping.
And you're shocked because it's packed.
And then the movie ends, and I'm like, that was really good. I didn't even have to force myself into liking this.
Right.
This is good, and it's original. It's its own little. And everyone I'm seeing, it's not a huge name actor.
Right.
Like, for example, there's this.
I think that's also refreshing too, right? That a movie, because like Supergirl couldn't even break 200 million, and that movie made 460 or something crazy.
Yeah.
And it was like on a tiny budget, like a $750,000 budget.
And for example, we have movies like this last movie with Ryan Gosling,
Hail Mary.
Hail Mary.
Yeah.
I think it's a great movie. It is a fun movie.
That's also that's an example of an expensive movie too, even though it's him and a puppet. But it's a big setup.
Here's the thing: I think the movie is so good by itself that it would have worked with a fresh face. You know?
Yeah, you make a good point.
But studios are afraid of that. They're not going to do something. If they do something with Fresh's face, it's because it's a spin-off or a sequel or something.
You know,
best example,
yeah.
Last Star Wars trilogy. I think it was the last big hit with new faces.
Okay.
But it has the most recognizable name in movie history ever. Star Wars.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Recognizable music. I mean, all like that whole package that came in. But you know, there's also I think the Star Wars fandom is so hardcore that there were a lot of people that did not like the last trilogy.
I know.
So what do you think of why is that? But obviously they made the most money, but I also think it's a reflection of the ticket prices. And you know, like at the time, because he was already on the rise, because it's not the 1970s anymore, and it's not 2001.
Mm-hmm.
This is like the late 2015,
20, yeah.
right? But I like them enough. I don't have any complaints. But people did not like the fact that Skywalker was, you know,
I remember episode 8 comes out, and most of the fandom. I'm part of the fandom.
Okay, tell me how you thought about that, because it also is like Skywalker is also a representation of and masculinity within itself. Right, like I think men and women, for example, was it Ray?
He's a very cute boy. Like even in the original trilogy,
he was kind of like, I mean, Harrison Ford was the more manly one, right?
And fun fact, because even we were seeing this back then,
right?
Even though Mark Hamill's Luke Skywalker is the main hero, who gets the girl?
Right, but it's because it's his sister.
Yeah, but they only thought of that like in the last movie.
Right.
They had a triangle in the first.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But I think there is this idea of like how we perform masculinity and how people are just men in general, like the energy that comes with it. There's this theory that like these sci-fi films, you need like a man from the past to come to the future to save it.
Yeah.
Have you heard of this trope?
Yeah.
Because even if the man exists in the future, he's still a representation of the past, like the Fifth Element. Like Bruce Willis's
He
character,
likes stuff from the past.
he's still like an embodiment of this idea. Or Demolition Men.
No, but wait, before we switch,
go on,
now,
go
talking
back
about
to Star Wars.
The Sixth Sense.
You guys don't forget to like the video if you're just not joining us.
Because
subscribe.
Bruce Willis is the manly man who likes the past in a film where if you see any other male character, it has feminine tropes.
Absolutely.
And any other character but Bruce Willis.
Right. I'm 100. And Demolition Men with Sylvester Stallone.
I haven't seen that.
It's a great, go add it to your watch list. That's why we have post-its. So if you want to write it down.
Demolition Men.
Yeah. So Demolition Men, and it has Sylvester Stallone and Wesley Snipes and Sandra Bullock. And it's actually a great movie, but it's this dystopian future where
from when
it's from like the 90s.
Okay.
But it's like the future is like already like it's already like it's like the past already. I'm pretty sure. What year does Demolition Men take place in? Because it's in they freeze the criminals. So instead of you being being put into a jail cell, you're frozen.
2032.
So it's just in a few years. So it's in 2032. So they're unfrozen, but Sylvester Stallone's character is frozen too because he was like a cop who kind of maybe
Thank you, Rob.
He went outside of his. Thank you, Rob. Thank you so
Rob.
much. He went outside of his bounds. Thank you, Rob, so much. He went out. He stepped outside of his.
Rob is asking questions.
Oh yeah.
Yes, Mario. I'm from Mexico. I've never been to the States. I speak really good English because I have a really good ear or hearing, and I just love eating up English content. So yeah, that's what happens.
Yeah, and I love it too because it's so much of it is like understanding culture through cinema too, right? TV and film. It's like kind of shapes our world, and I do think that Hollywood is going to open up the door for because that Trey Barker film, it had to go through the channels. Does that make sense? Like Focus Features had to buy it. So, because getting into that distribution model is very hard. Getting into the theater,
I imagine,
on that level. So it's like I think they're already like, okay, like yes, we have to. But going back to Star Wars, like this idea of how do we perform gender? And like there's some girl boss tropes in there too, right? Have you heard of the girl boss trope? It's like some people don't like it. I don't really know if I understand if there's a real trope to it. Mario, do you know what the girl boss is?
Yeah, well, it's like these girls that are like self-sufficient that don't need like men.
Because there's a lot. There's a whole.
I'm not against.
I'm not against it. I'm not against it.
In fact, I may say that trope played into my life in another story from David. I grew up in a generation.
How the girl boss affected you?
Thinking that girls of my age were done with the classic men.
Yeah.
I grew up thinking women want to work, want to make their own money, want to choose from themselves and not just be a housewife.
Sure.
Que es in Spanish mantenida.
Maintained.
Maintained by the main figure. And I grew up thinking that.
Right.
And I'm honestly really attracted to girls that are not looking for a man to come and fix their lives. And I see it in my sister. I know it has to do something with how I was raised because my sister embodies that woman. She has a boyfriend now. My sister is she's studying to be a doctor. And she makes her
How old is she? Is she younger?
She's younger than me for like a year and a half.
Does she speak English just as well?
No.
No? Why not, you think?
Because she was not really interested in learning it.
Isn't it interesting? You have to be super interested while you're young.
Yeah.
You have to be so into it.
Because I was going to mention it at the beginning, because it's not just learning a language, it's learning a culture. And that takes time.
It does.
So my sister thought to herself, I'm going to make good money and I'm going to make a life and a home and whatever I want for myself. And I can marry whoever the fuck I want.
Sure. Absolutely.
And that's the kind of mentality I love and I'm attracted to.
Absolutely.
But
Makes
then...
sense. Because you're not looking, because otherwise it's like going to be like your dad's situation where you're going to be like, okay, like I'm just signing up for a trap.
But then I become an adult and I enter the dating world.
Yeah.
And I'm shocked cold in the face because I've literally had conversation in multiple dates where girls straight up tell me, no, I am looking for a man who earns more money than me, who can fully support me when it's needed. And that is what I truly want. And it's okay. If that's what you truly want, it's okay. But it's a shock to me,
right?
Because I thought this mentality was gone.
You were sold this narrative that those women were gone. That that's not what people want anymore.
And then I get there and I'm like, oh, so no, I do need to make enough money to support you, me, and whatever kid.
That's so real. He has a question.
Who
He
has a
says,
question?
David, I hear English is the hardest language to learn. Do you find that to be
No,
true?
I think it's the easiest language to be learned because it's very basic. You are, we are, you run, I
They
run,
are.
then the past tenses. And
I
you can
think
just
it's-
use the did and forget about the past tenses.
Right.
And I think it's
I think it's actually very intuitive.
intuitive. That was the word.
I think there are some, I think what trips people up is like just memorizing certain things. It is what it is. I'll let you answer, but I think it's some people, the little things that throw people off the course, the scent.
Mhm.
Like they lose themselves because of the weird things that don't, because there are more exceptions to the rule than the rule.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
I think the hardest thing for me was the fact that the letters, once they are inside of the words, are not pronounced the same way
Sure.
as when they are letters. For example, A,
Right.
it sounds like
Right.
most of the time.
Right.
I think that's the hardest thing.
Then it's
to
like
learn,
inside of a
is you
word,
need to
and it's like
remember it.
earth. Well, it's like you don't, it's like Spanish is a phonetic language. So if you guys are curious, Spanish, you pronounce, unless it's the A to the beginning of a sentence, you pronounce every single letter.
Mhm.
Right. So it's like
Yeah.
you could
we did.
you could see a word for the first time. I remember seeing the first time I saw the word murciélago, and I'm like, I'd never heard it before. I'd never seen it before.
And you were
but I knew it.
murciélago or
Well,
something like that, right?
Well, I mean, I knew how to. I'd already learned the basics. So I knew it was like murciélago, like you just followed the rules.
Mhm.
So basically, there are no exceptions to that, right?
But there's something very hard in Spanish that I think if I were native in Spanish,
Uh-huh.
it would have been
Nice
hard for me.
self-correction.
We have genders for stuff. La mesa is feminine. El teléfono is masculine.
Right.
And you just need to remember that because there's nothing. You can have a word ending with an A and still be masculine.
And
so
words are random, like it's el útero, the thing that's most
Absolutely.
feminine, or los senos,
and that's just something that you need to know,
y la verga.
which is
Isn't that crazy?
feminine, yeah.
But isn't that, it's such a trip?
Yeah.
Because when I tell people that, like, oh yeah, that is weird. Because I'm like, the
It
most
is.
feminine things are
And it is so natural for me.
right, because you don't think about it.
Mhm.
Because it's just like
Flipping a switch.
right, because it's just gendered because it's gendered.
He
Back when I was-
also,
When
yeah.
I was
Sorry,
yes.
just a quick question from
Yeah.
Rolf. Does English have a lot of slang compared to other languages?
Every language has its slang.
Yeah, I mean, Spanish has a lot of slang.
Yeah,
Slang,
and it's different slangs from different places.
yeah, for real. But I think it's probably true for like the British have their own slang, the Australians have their slang.
Mhm.
But I do think the Spanish, the cultures, like the countries, there are so many of them. It is kind of interesting how insular the slang can be. But I feel like when I was in Ecuador, they didn't really have their own slang.
Really?
Like I feel like Ecuador, like it's very minimal. Like the only thing they say is like veci, like they'll say
Veci?
vecino.
Oh,
They
really?
say veci. Because I
Okay,
lived in Ecuador
that's
for like
fine.
4 years, so like Ecuador that's the only thing they say. Or like let's say that you order something, that you order like you get, even if they're selling you tea on the side of the street, they'll have like hot teas and stuff. And if you want an extra one, they'll say la yapa,
Okay.
and la yapa is like they'll give you like another one for free, just
Okay.
because it's like, why not? It's like smaller than Texas. It's a very small country, and so it's very like communal in that way. So if you ever like buy something, let's say you buy like 5 tacos, and you're like, "Y la yapa," like they'll just give you another taco. You know what I mean? They
Yeah.
don't even eat tacos. They eat like
You have a word for that in here.
I
That
know.
doesn't mean the exact same
I know,
thing.
but it's I heard it.
De pilon.
De pilon. Yeah, de pilon. I've heard that.
Yeah, I'm giving you one de pilon, so te regalo otro.
De pilon. Yeah, but they're in Ecuador. It's called la yapa.
And now we're talking languages. I'm going to manifest something. I'm a
Yes,
huge
manifest.
fan of Holly, it's Disney, not Disney. You know she? Know her?
Holly.
Miss Holly is her channel is of learn. She's
So she's
from
a
the United
YouTuber?
States. She's
Okay.
a YouTuber from the
Okay.
United States, but she
Okay.
moved into Mexico when she was really young.
So she's here now.
I believe so.
Okay,
Because she's
we can
married to a
find her.
Mexican guy.
Okay.
And then her
Miss Holly,
English
we're calling
and
out to you.
Spanish is both really good.
Yeah.
So when people heard her speak Spanish, they were making fun of her, being like, "Why are you pretending to be American? You are Mexican, talking Spanish." And she's like, "Guys, I'm American. I'm from the States. I just have a really good Spanish and English because I was raised here."
Right.
And she has such a good channel, and she taught me a lot of English.
I love it.
And she has, I haven't seen. But
Sometimes people get exhausted by like the teaching because after a while you're kind of like,
But for example, she had this show in her channel where
Okay.
she would take an interview from Diego Luna or Salma Hayek.
I feel like Herman probably watches this.
Probably.
Because some of that stuff gets remixed on new social media sites.
And she would analyze their English and try and learn why do they pronounce it that way. So I always thought to myself, if I were famous, I would like her to analyze my English. And I would like her to talk about it with it. So
okay, if you're manifesting that, Holly. I think Herman watches
Super Holly, yeah. Thank you.
Super Holly.
Yep.
See, Herman, so he's watching. So he knows Super
Comment for her to come to this video and
Super
analyze
Holly.
my English.
So Herman knows exactly what you're talking about because it's so specific. And also like hearing those nuanced differences, it's like you have to train, I always to say like el oído afilado. Like it requiere, you really have to have a sharp ear about it. I don't know if I would say that in Spanish. It's like a refined ear, like you have to really have it's like a palate, like for wine. It's like knowing what it is you're tasting and hearing. It helps you distinguish, or you hear the like, okay, they're Argentinian.
Yeah.
Or like gracias, you're like, okay, they're Spanish, or little things, and how it's not just the one thing. It's like a whole package, and like understanding that, and then also people just have their way of speaking inside their families too. So Holly, come analyze.
If you ever see this, please analyze my English. I'd be happy to.
Yeah, absolutely. Analyze David. So I loved you talking about your whole like history with your dad and everything. Did he ever have any more children, or was it just you two?
No, just me. Well, now I have a stepsister, but because he remarried.
Okay. Did he have a traditional wedding?
Yeah, a big wedding actually.
Were you surprised that he actually went through with a full-on wedding?
Again, because I know he's not watching, I'm just gonna say it.
Sure.
I thought he was not gonna remarry because I guess I just know him.
He was like
he seemed okay the way he was.
Sure.
I guess it's natural to eventually want a companion when I think about it.
Yeah.
But when he told me that he was gonna propose, I was like, "Are you sure that? Are you sure you want to do this again? Do you love her? Are you sure?" And
that's so mature of you to talk to him.
I'm not sure if he was honest, but what he said was like, "Well, here's the thing, David. Me giving her the ring, it's a way for me to tell her that she's the one I want to be with. She's the woman I want to continue to be with. I love her. And that is what she wants. She wants to be married. So I'm going to give it to her."
Because it's not really, he's not having to compromise anything.
Exactly. But like down in his heart, I saw that he was not really like, "Oh, I can't wait to get married. I want to be married."
Right.
It was more like, "I'm comfortable. I love you. If you want this, okay."
As long as nothing really changes.
And here's the fun thing, because when he told me this, I thought, this guy, like, he thinks he can just give her the ring and marry her and then nothing will change. That's not going to happen. She's going to move into your house and
they weren't living together?
Yeah, I'm going to get to it. No, they weren't living together before they got married.
Okay.
And your whole life is going to change. You're back to square one. I'm not sure if you're having children with her, but you're definitely going to enter back into being a married person,
right?
Which you are completely, it's not what you've been doing for the last 20 years. So you are not.
There's like a constant commitment type of thing.
But he's so lucky.
Because she's so chill.
I've been going to visit him. And so she has she used to live with her mom in a separate house. It was her mom, and her daughter.
Okay.
So now, because she still wants to be with her mom.
It was like 3 generations in a house.
She's like, some days he's with my dad, some others she goes with her mom. So my dad had his cake and ate it too. He's married,
right?
But sometimes he's just alone, chilling in his house like a single man. And I think at the end of the day, that's what he truly wanted.
Sure. Well, he probably also like, and just by him understanding and like meeting y'all, she like his new wife understood that it's like marriage. Once something really traumatic happens, it's always going to be associated with that first marriage. Like, you know what I mean? The idea of marriage itself.
Okay.
So it's like he probably made it clear, like, I don't want to repeat that.
Maybe. I have no idea.
I would imagine. I mean, do you know her well?
I would say so, because I mean,
is that by design or just by default?
What do you mean by that?
By default, like meaning, is it by that no one's actively trying to not connect you with her? She's busy. She's otherwise busy with like her.
No, I'd say she really tries to get along with me when we meet. When we first met, she tried, and I'm super open to it. She's a really nice woman.
Yeah.
I can't say I care or love her in any way simply because I'm not there.
Right.
I moved way before they married.
Sure.
But every time I go visit, she's super cozy with me, warm with me. And
You don't think there's no ulterior motive? It's just all
no, of course not. And I mean, I don't treat her or pretend to care more than I really do.
sure,
And I don't think it goes, I think it's the same way
sure,
back.
It's
So
like a-
we have a very nice,
cordial.
honest
Okay.
relationship.
Yeah.
And I know she loves my dad, and that's all I really need to know.
Yeah.
And I'm not trying for her to be my mom, and I'm not pushing forwards to having a relationship with her.
How is she compared to your mom? Like, who's like?
She can't compare. I mean, what are you talking about?
But are they like? They're just like radically different women.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Who's
Totally
more?
different mindset, total different face, skin color, age, everything. She's a completely different person.
Point of
from my
view,
mom.
everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. So much of it has to do with like how you're raised and like what. So do you think the young people who are coming up now, in terms of, do you think that they have like the proper, in terms of what you've seen out in society? Like, I mean, and not that you're not analyzing kids at the park, you know, but I'd be curious to know if you think kids who are growing up now feel like they have like a proper mom and father or parents, doesn't matter who they are, but
I can tell you that what I've seen from my generation is that of us who grew with divorced parents, we believe in true love. We believe that we can have what they couldn't. I want my traditional family.
Yeah.
I want a wife. I want 2 kids. I want a
white picket
dog
fence
and a white fence. Yes, absolutely. And I know I want that, even though I didn't grow with. I didn't grow with it.
Yeah.
I know that's what I want, and I think lots of my generation who had divorced parents want it.
That's good. I mean, that's strong to hold on to the belief. And
but as you just mentioned, trauma, maybe it's just necessary. We may be taking care of certain aspects with these new kids, but we are going to spoil them in some others.
I mean, I feel like I would be like a very strong disciplinarian. You know what I mean? Just to the point where, not to traumatize them, but I know that like too much is like we're almost worse.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I've seen like the children of some of these really, really rich people, and it's like, whoa, you know what I mean? It's because it's the too much choice is like its own trap.
Okay.
Yeah. Have you heard of this?
I guess.
For example, like think about having no stoplights. It would just be chaos because you think there's ultimate freedom, but the reality is it's actually just another. Y'all will all be crashing into each other. But then if you have too many stoplights, it just stops. Nothing happens. There's nothing moves forward. So it's like there's like a balance of like guardrails, restrictions, and freedoms, and allowing, so that way the child understands that he or she will have to grow up, or they will grow up in a society that does have rules and consequences for actions. And because I think right now what's being projected through social media is that like doesn't matter, like not whatever, when I mentioned it earlier, it's like there are consequences for everything, whether you want to believe that there are or not. And even like, for example, you like finding a girlfriend, like we're all dealing with, it's not just you. I mean, I've heard this like so many times. It's not just you. It doesn't mean that you're like less special. It means that it's like you're living, it's like you're a victim, I don't like that word, but you're living it with the consequences of a system where they taught all these women, but they were also being simultaneously taught like the cake and eat it too type of situation. So I wonder if they're struggling in their own way because they're not finding, because that guy doesn't maybe exist, or only a handful of those guys exist who are willing to, let them be, the maybe kind of have some modern feminist ideals while also being maintained. I'm
gonna say something controversial but true.
Yeah. So lay it on me.
One of my best friends just got married. Okay. I know him since we were in elementary school, and he told me this as follows.
Okay, tell me.
David, my wife is mine, just like my car is mine, and that table is mine, and the thing is mine.
Okay.
And I want her beautiful because she's next to me, and I'm gonna pay for her nails, and I'm gonna pay for her boobs, and I'm gonna pay for her ass, and I'm gonna have her looking perfect because she's coming right next to me. She's mine, and I'm gonna pay for every little thing she wants. I'm going to maintain her, and I'm going to have her happy. And I assure you that woman is happy because I've talked to her. Yeah. Of course, she doesn't tell me this in front of her.
Sure.
And she's like living the dream. Absolutely. But I know that her husband sees her as tough. As tough that once she's old and not able to maintain however pretty she is, he's going to change. I know it because he was honest with me.
You're saying that you think he's going to change, or he's not going to leave her? He's going to soften.
Eventually, he's going to leave her for someone younger, for someone hotter.
Okay, got it.
Someone, you know.
Okay.
And that's just the thing. I think these girls that want this ideal man who is sensitive enough and gives her their space and understands her, but also maintains her, and he's somehow perfect in both ways.
Right. It's never going to last.
This is not a real person. He's probably just like my friend, giving you all you want, but not seeing you as the valuable person that you are. He's seeing you as one of the other pretty things he has.
Right. So he basically boiled it down like she is like an object to me in this situation.
A trophy wife.
A trophy, like a literal trophy wife.
Yeah.
There was a great series that only ran for like one season. It was called Trophy Wife. And it was like playing on these ideas. This woman, she was the trophy wife, but she was actually like a good, but the idea of like, what is a trophy wife? But I think I'm kind of surprised that the trophy wife trope is still going on. But anytime I go to the gym, I see it, because I see these people and I'm like, they're performing, they're performing almost like womanhood, right?
Yeah.
Because they're performing for a certain type of man. So
Rob is saying, she's not going to be able to meet his expectations.
Yeah, eventually, like time catches up to all of us. She's going to age eventually.
Rob is saying he believes that the man should be the breadwinner. But I think it says, I know that's wrong, but my parents' generation lived that way. Maybe that's why I still am. I was single. He's saying maybe he's still single. So he's saying maybe that's why. I don't know, Rob. I mean, I think you can actually, because you've been telling me that you encounter women who want you to be the breadwinner.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay, well, you're inherently in a system that's not designed, for like it's almost like it's there. That is a generational thing where we're not in a system that's designed for people to even it's like people can barely pay for themselves. I mean, I know the feeling. So what is up with that?
Well, here's the thing. I would love to have someone to grow with and become that successful person next to her.
Right.
So that we both become successful, because I know that if I manage to get there by myself as a natural human, I know I'm never going to be the person who says, I do want to maintain you. I have everything now. Please come into my life and I'll make you happy. I won't. I will probably become like my friend. I will be like, if you just want me to maintain you, okay, give me what I want. And then once you're old enough, I'm going to change you for someone younger, because I did this by myself.
Right. Right. I mean, there was a documentary called The Queen of Versailles, and it was about this guy who had his company, and he had his wife, and the wife, she was kind of kooky, but it was designed to be just around her. But during the making of the documentary, she was building like the biggest house in America. Well, the guy, he had a reversal of fortunes. So instead of it being a rags to riches, it was a riches to rags situation.
Okay.
And so, but she stayed with him. But the whole documentary is about how crazy rich they are. And they lost their money. But she kept telling the documentarian and the guy, she would say that he would always joke that whenever she turned 40, he was going to trade her in for 2 20-year-olds. But it's a great documentary about wealth and our relationship with wealth and how it affects, because wealth directly affects gender roles too.
Yeah.
And I think that
because here's the thing, because at the end of the day, and I do mean this so wholeheartedly, I believe every straight man, maybe every man in general, limps from the same wound. We are all, how do I say this? Men looks for sex like as a goal.
Absolutely.
We can't deny the truth.
Absolutely.
So as long as there are rich men who will continue to pursue what every man pursues,
sure,
there's going to be, if I had the money,
right,
of course I wouldn't care paying, as long as I keep getting what I want.
Right, because it's like the ultimate need is checked.
At the end, it is still our fault as men to create these ideals that women have from us,
Right.
Because there are men who can.
We should probably analyze those movies that flip it on its head too. Like, was it Mrs. Sloan with the one with Jessica Chastain, where she's the one paying for, the man?
Okay.
Like these men are coming out. I want to say it was Mrs. Sloan, but it was there was a movie where she's, they flip all of the stereotypes on their heads, where like the woman is.
I think so, yeah.
Maybe it was. You should watch that movie. It's another movie for you to watch, Mrs. Sloan.
Mrs. Sloan.
And there's a pen over there too, but there's some good movies.
She also has another one that's Dreams, where she is also like the powerful woman.
Maybe that's what I'm thinking of.
I think you're right.
There was a movie that she was in Molly's Game too, but she's an interesting character. I don't think she's had any children, right?
No.
I saw this movie with Chris Evans and the girl from 50 Shades of Grey.
Yeah, Dakota Johnson.
Yeah, Dakota Johnson.
The Materialist.
Yeah, and
I haven't seen it yet. But
she's faced with a decision.
Okay.
Either be with Chris Evans' character, who is not a wealthy man, or to be with wealthy man character.
Okay.
And she talks to Captain America, Chris Evans, and she's like, if I choose to stay with you, I'm always gonna have a mediocre life, and I'm always gonna have like less than what I want, blah 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 blah. And I was just looking at the scene, thinking to myself, can she work and be with whomever she wants?
Right. Right.
Yeah. And it's a question that the movie doesn't even propose.
Well, maybe that's the idea, is that it's like so, like it's such a reality. That's why it's called like The Materialist, because it's so like baked into the script to make it, maybe it's designed to make you frustrated. That actress makes me frustrated just in general.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but I mean, I'm not alone, because I mentioned this, and people are like, there's something about her that some people, they cannot stand it.
Don't you think it's maybe just that she's sadly been in movies that everyone hates?
No, I don't think that's it at all.
Because she's been in like the Spider-Man movie that wasn't Spider-Man.
No, this is way before the Spider-Man movie.
Really?
Yeah. I think it has to do with like my familiarity with the culture, because it's like, she's like the most 100% Nepo baby example. Does that make sense? Her mother is Melanie Griffith. Who was like given movie after movie. Hollywood really thought her mother was supposed to be a huge star. She was in a movie called Working Girl. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of plays into what we're talking about. Her mother was in this famous movie about working women. And then her father is, was it something Johnson? I can't remember his name. Don Johnson. Yeah, Don Johnson. He's a big actor. And I also think and also the whole thing with, but I know some people really like her, and I don't really have anything against her, but I'm always just honest about how I feel. But for some reason, that actress like rubs me the wrong way. I think it's the idea, like I don't care, and da 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 da. Mario, what was your take on her?
I like her, but I wish, and this happens.
Everyone can act the way they want, but there's something about her person. I think a lot of women identify with her.
I just also think that she hasn't been in good movies. Like she hasn't been.
Yeah, like in this Madam Web, and then 50 Shades of Grey. No one liked that one.
I kind of have like the same feelings towards.
She's in a bunch of movies that are coming out that are about romance. Like that's like the remakes of these romantasy. That's also feeding into like the problem. These new movies and books that women are consuming. Like it's called romantasy. It's romantic fantasy, and it's just like so. So let's say I was like, okay, I will give you $10,000, but you have to find like a girlfriend, and then it's like how to lose a guy in 10 days, but it's the reverse. It's like she has to like fall in love with you. Like, do you feel like you could do that?
How many money do I have?
$10,000.
$10,000.
This is the hypothetical right now. Okay, maybe it'll turn into a real thing. I think people can follow the channel.
I think the challenge, I'm just gonna be honest, will be on how beautiful I want this girl to be. Because if we are just comparing money and superficiality,
right? Because you could go out and find
someone. I can go and find someone nice, not so beautiful looking, honest person.
Oh, right.
And I can tell you, she's gonna fall in love with me in like 3 seconds.
Isn't that so sad that we're so superficial as a society, Mario? I'm telling you, it's not. But I love that you're so honest about it, because I think you make a really good point.
But if I go and have like the most gorgeous woman I can find, I'm gonna run out of the money, and she's just gonna go. Because that's just the truth, the objective.
Okay, so we are as superficial as we think.
I think we are.
And is there no remedy for that?
I think just like wealth, the more beautiful you are, the more superficial you are.
Okay.
The same way, like the more money you have, the less money you give. You give less and less to poor people, the more you have. The only person that helps the other guy is your neighbor.
Someone who's like closer.
Someone who's like close to you,
because they can sympathize more with that.
I see. For example, this one day I was just, my friend gave me this bread that was sweet, and I really liked it.
Right.
But then I was in the subway, and there were just kids begging for food and money, and I was just like, hey, this is all I have.
Right.
But I assure you, a rich person would not do that.
Well, and also they wouldn't take the subway.
Yeah, of course. But I assure you they have other opportunities to give.
Sure.
Because we all do.
Sure.
And they don't.
Right.
And it's because it's embedded. It's not necessarily because they're bad or evil.
No, I get it.
It's embedded in how they were raised. Like,
and they probably can't.
You don't give this away. This is what gives me power.
Right.
Hey, Keith PB House.
We share it because we don't have it.
Keith PB House is ooh girls. Keith PB House. Speaking, so Keith PB House. He spends most of his days on a sailboat. So he sails around the world. Cool. I would say around the world. He really is off the coast of California. But Keith PB House is like, because we normally go later in the day. So thank you for being here. I know we're not going to keep you for too much longer.
I was about to ask you that.
I know. But I feel like it's been really revealing. But by the way, has it been? I've loved you talking about these topics because it's so freaking fascinating. Because I feel like so many people I also think in Spanish too, like there's always like everyone's so cordial. It's like, go to the store and like, where's the milk? Like, buenas tardes. And it's like, okay, let's get to the point.
Okay.
And then I feel like so much of Spanish is small talk and like people don't actually get to the meat of things.
Yeah.
And I feel like people like, if it's kind of cathartic, it's a bit, Keith PB has super chats for David. David here.
Hi. So you just mentioned that about how we just keep rolling in Spanish.
Yeah.
One of my other jobs, because being an actor doesn't always pay the bills.
Right.
I'm also a Spanish interpreter.
You guys, we have to get your YouTube channel. Let's launch you.
Oh yeah, my YouTube channel. It's gonna be easier if I write it down.
Because a comment. Is that your channel?
Oh, can I do that?
Yeah, okay. You just say hello. They can follow you from here.
That's okay. That means
and they can watch the live replay.
But either way, I'm going to like.
Yeah, right at.
Yep.
I remember when everything became an et.
Mm-hmm.
Like they had because it used to. Do y'all remember? Am I old enough? I remember when it was they had the whatever it was youtube.com/ the username, but then TikTok made everybody change it so that it's et.
So you can find me here as Dale Horror, basically everywhere: Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Facebook now. But
so you can put his comment on screen too.
There you have it, guys.
Yeah, Dale Horror Studios. So what was I talking about before?
Dale Horror Studios. Is it Dale double H?
Yeah, double H.
Okay, I like it. You guys go follow him. Now, where does it come from?
When I was a little kid,
going back.
Our teacher told us to name our USB drives, and my friend took mine and he inserted it and he said, "What do you want to name it?" And I said, David Alejandro Roja, which is my full name. Yeah. And he tried to write that down super fast.
Yeah.
And all he came up with was this. And I looked at it and I was like, I like that. And I've liked it ever since.
Okay. Okay. Very cool. We've had an evolution of names over here. I think we've landed on it for now. Because like we're excited, we're like exploring the big ideas. But like I feel like you get to big ideas through the small ideas too. Mm-hmm. So what would be your dream projects that you would produce on your channel? Like what would be the thing that you could speak to? Because we've been talking about superficiality and men, and I feel like you're so honest about it that people who watch it on the replay too are going to find it really refreshing.
You know,
it's really refreshing.
Thank you I love being honest and just saying my honest thoughts about everything. But living as an actor, it's getting harder and harder to just be transparent about stuff because again, you're always under a microscope and everyone is always judging everything you say and using it against you.
But I think you can flip it on its head too, and it can be a superpower. The ability to, because if everyone else is falling in,
you need to get to the place where you have a following.
Yeah, but
so your ideas are heard.
Right, but it's a catch-22.
Okay,
it's a catch-22. It's a chicken and egg situation. So I think the more honest you are, like the more people are gonna, I support that. I love that guy.
But what about?
I think that's
your
good.
Opinions are controversial.
Thank you, Rob.
Oh, thank you, Rob.
Yeah, I see. You see, like people are validating it all the time.
But what happens when, for example, I'm going to use a controversial example, J.K. Rowling.
Okay.
She believes what she believes.
Sure.
She's honest and open about it.
Yeah.
And she's not really, she's attacking a certain group, to be honest. But she's open about what she truly believes is right. And she's hated for it. So how do you know that there are ideas that you may have that you may not feel comfortable sharing because they are not what most of the people think about?
I think you're going to see a change in the next couple of years where it's like she's more beloved than ever. Because I will tell you, most people I know like love her more than they did even before, because it is about that idea of feeling like you're a slave to the times. Because I don't know if it's necessarily, I mean, because I guess it's the age too. It's like, because some people frame things as an attack. Because I remember it started with like a question. She's like, what do we call women who are naturally born women? And she used the word like woman, like WOMBE, you know? And I was like, she has a point. Like what? Yeah, like she was like, I was like, she has a point. And I think that.
Then where was she? Why has she been attacked by? Because she has been called out in her comments.
Well, I think it's because whenever you are that level of fame, it's like taking a stand on anything can become. So here's KPP House. See, KPP House is.
Oh, dude!
Yay.
Thank you,
thank you, David. KPP House, what do you think about this? About the whole J.K. Rowling situation? I honestly don't even find it very controversial. I think it's also the height of just trying to like cancel everybody, and I don't think she's cancelable because she's so like the cultural products that she's created have our entire worlds. And I don't think she's hateful. I don't think there's a hateful bone in her body from what I've seen. Mm-hmm. I think it's like it's been hijacked or co-opted. But I don't personally see anything that's been actually like, you know what I'm saying, evil. I think there are people that are just looking for a rage. You know what I mean? And I don't play into that.
But we can't sit and pretend it doesn't affect you. Like, yeah, I can assure you she lost. I mean, I'm not going to tell her she lost a lot.
Sure.
But at least, like, for example, they didn't use in the new, there was in 2021 or something that the cast of Harry Potter reunited and they left her out because of her controversies.
Sure.
So that's a little sad.
Well, there was a lot of talk about, you got to realize it was the anniversary of the movies, not the books.
Yeah, so, but who's the creator? Who's the author? She had every right to either.
Yeah, but I feel like
it's like making a Star Wars special and not mention George Lucas just because he sold the franchise. You know?
Well, maybe. I think you make a good point, but I also think look how that turned out. She has more money than all of HBO.
That's true. That's absolutely true. Yeah.
So HBO isn't completely in debt. In fact,
they're still working with her because they're making a new one.
Well, and they're still trying to be acquired by Paramount, and so who's in a better position? Do you know what I mean?
Right, yeah.
So I think KPP House. He says people just love rage.
Love rage quit. Yeah.
Love rage bait. I feel like that's like there's so many people out there who are like genuinely evil. I feel like going after J.K. Rowling is just silly to me.
No, you're right.
I mean, do you know what I mean? I think it's just like a Gen Z. Like I think it's actually the distraction. Remember how I was talking about it when you first got here? And I was like, the people who are, whenever you get really, really close to power, you really understand how it really works. And it's so, but it's trying to explain down or trying to explain it sideways even. You look crazy until you are in those rooms and you see the conversations. It's like, oh my God, it's all theater. Like it's you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's all
because really, someone is actually just trying to make a comment, and it's like we're going to distract everybody over this issue. The bigger issue is that we all need to pay our rent and we all need to be able to live.
But we need people not thinking that.
Well, I don't even know what is her argument. What is the argument? I think the argument is more about
I believe it's having transgender people and
right. But I think the issue is it's like that's why do we care what an author even cares? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's like because it almost feels like we're not allowed to have an opinion, that type of thing. Does that make sense?
Yeah, but that's just it. We
like sit here and like really against gay people, but I'm not gonna like tell her you can't have those thoughts.
Yeah.
Because it's like she's not gonna change her mind.
But that's just it. Like we can sit here and ponder and say, yeah, we shouldn't be pointing at her and calling her out, but the reality is different. Like the truth is that you can't get into a show, no matter who you are, and give an opinion that everyone else is against you, because at least for 5 minutes, people are going to point at you.
Yeah. I mean, and I always like to entertain ideas without, I think the best thing to do is just not have a stance on things. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I think that just talking about your own personal experience, there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like if you're speaking to your own personal experience, it's like, you know, it's going to invalidate that because it's just, it's just your lived experience.
That's true.
And you're not, but I do think it is whenever you're trying to tell other people like what to do or what not to do, or the conversation becomes infinitely more controversial when you start to, it's like, oh, how does that affect children? And I think that's also why Gen Z is not having kids too, is because they understand that's like everything is consequential for the children, you know, but that's like the argument, but think of the children. Well, I mean, that's a legitimate concern, you know, like how do the kids come into play or how do they blah, 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 blah. But I get what you're saying, but at the end of the day, that's like one of the only things that's going to keep, you know, Warner Brothers relevant is one of that iconic property, you know? Mm-hmm. So I know she's involved with that.
Of course she is, because she's the owner at the end of that. She was smart enough not to sell the entire thing.
Right. So I think it's a side conversation. I think I think it's like they're real villains. They're real like dragons to slay. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, so it's very interesting. But thank you, Keith Peavy House. You've been amazing. Thank you so much. Thank you, Rob.
Thanks so much for
Thank
having
you,
me.
guys.
Yeah, you guys are awesome. Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you
guys.
so much, guys. Really.
So I'm glad you got to come. So make sure you subscribe to his channel. Keith says, I'm honestly unaware of whatever controversy. Right? Because I'm telling you, people over 40, we don't care.
Well,
Like,
true.
the kids are like mad about the new thing. I'm like, I promise you, we don't even know about it. Because I kind of know what you're talking about, but I think you're talking about tweets.
Yeah, she tweeted like
I'm like,
controversial stuff.
Right,
and,
but like we know that a tweet doesn't mean anything to us.
well, it made James Gunn lost his job for a second there, remember?
Right.
He was fired from Marvel because they
Maybe they
found-
were right the first time though.
Come on.
Not because of that. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because of the like, I don't have anything against him. I think I go do
Yeah, me
your
neither.
thing. But I think it is kind of trying to apply maybe the same aesthetic and the same humor to like maybe DC. But yeah, I think the whole James Gunn thing was another just manufactured.
Yeah, and
you know.
that's something that I'm just also like, what if
To
something
be clear,
I say today,
I'm not for canceling anybody.
what if something I said today
Mhm.
comes and haunts me when I'm 60?
No, I think those days are over.
Are you sure? Because again, using James Gunn's example, he made these terrible tweets 20 years ago. And
But
they
you
got him
haven't
fired.
said anything like even remotely controversial.
No, I know, but that's because I'm scared.
Well,
You want me to tell you controversial stuff? I can.
I think we're kind of in a pose. I think as long as you're not like actively hating on anybody,
Yeah, of
I don't
course.
think those days are really honestly over. Because I don't think there's any one person who can like pull a lever. Do you know what I'm saying? And if they can, it would be to their own detriment. Because if you're the best person for that job or whatever, I mean, sure, they have their options and things like that in terms of casting or hiring. But I do think that we're entering an age of build your own empire.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, J.K. Rowling had to do that. I mean, she was living in government housing, and she's one of the most powerful creative people in the world.
True.
Like in a property that's so iconic that like people will never stop talking about it. It's because it speaks to the human experience.
True.
I mean, even Dumbledore was gay. I don't think she's like anti. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
I think she's just making an observation. And I think that's where the thought police, that's what we're afraid of. As people who are older, we're not right or left. We just don't like the thought police. It's like we're having to control what a thing is. So I think it's a valid point. I think you can always agree to disagree.
Of course.
This idea that everybody has to agree on everything, I think is its own fallacy. Like we all have to agree. I think more it's like just understand the other person has a different point of view and they're not out to get you.
Mm-hmm.
The whole witch hunt thing. I think it's like there's like a whole sea of people, and I'm like, all of y'all together are not even 1% of her net worth. Like she's fine. You know what I mean? Not that it's all about money, but it's more about like, I think she recognizes that by staying true to who she is, that's actually more financially and socially and like long term. It's like this is actually just like because you got to realize in the 2020s and then in the late 2010s, it's like people were outraged about everything. And so this idea of just like live and let live, so I think that, the controversy is, I don't really know enough about it. I don't even care to know more about it.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? I don't even care to know because she's not like a politician, right?
You're right.
So it's so funny to even like care. So, it's one of those things. So, but people who are looking to be angry are going to find something to be angry about. When it's like we should all be building versus, being angry.
Yeah, you're right.
Is this strobe light overwhelming? Here.
It is not. Oh, this one?
KPV House. Well, it's like to add some effect. KPV House. I'll say, help us pay for props. It's like, I'll pay us to turn it off. But thank you for being here. Seriously, I hope you had fun.
Thank you so very much. I did.
Yeah, and I think we're talking about different topics and different things. But I do think that exploring like what it means to be a man. Thank you, Rob.
Thank you so very much.
Thank you so much. Yeah. But exploring what it means to be a man in today's world or a woman it's just maybe that's what J.K. Rowling is ultimately trying to get at. Is like at what point maybe we'll all be so confused. It's like, what do you call this or what do you call that? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't have a stance on that other than I think that the more we talk to each other and we're not like enraged all the time, we can actually have legitimate conversations.
Yes.
And speak to each other and have like a heart for the other person. Cause sometimes I know there are people who like just like hate gay people, and I actually feel for them because it's like they've just been trained to think that. I don't think they're just mad at something. They had to pick a group.
Mm-hmm.
And for that person, I just happen to be in their group. Do you know what I'm saying? You have to you have to be like evolved enough to not like, I'm not saying I think that they should be going around hating people. It's like, all you can do is just like live by example. You know what I mean?
Totally.
Because just existing is like pissing the other person off. And maybe that's what that community is feeling. But I don't think she's saying you don't deserve to exist. I think she's just saying that there's a word reserved for natural born women in her mind. And that's her point of view. And I don't think we should rob people of their personal points of view, you know, because I think we all are entitled to that. Because at the end of the day, that's your identity too, as well. Like how you view the world. It's like, no, erase everything. Because that's how authoritarianism actually starts. You start erasing all the history.
Yeah. And then we're just going to repeat it.
Right. Or it's worse.
Or worst.
You know, especially with all the technology, you know, being, you know, hijacked and used against us. It says, if they were gay, would they hate themselves? No, of course not. Well, honestly, Rob, I think there probably are a lot of gay people that do hate themselves. I think that's a real thing. It's called like internalized homophobia, but I think it's a real thing.
I couldn't tell. I've never experienced it because I'm not. Mm-hmm.
Right, but it's a real thing. I think like, it's kind of like you, especially if you were like grew up in a certain situation. I don't think I have it, but I do. I've seen it. I've been really close to it. And I know what it looks like because it's like they're really like having like I find an internal really wrestling match.
Of course, I will never know what.
You guys, if you have any super chats, leave them now because David's about to go. He has to go do some.
Yeah, I need to go back to my regular job.
Yes,
and be a normal person.
Yeah,
but I find it amusing whenever I find in this day and age a person that's gay and still in the closet. Of course, I will never know what struggle each individual is going through.
Do you know anybody personally?
Yeah.
Okay, tell me. Okay, this is the interesting. I'm sure people will find this fascinating.
I'm not going to say his name because he's from dubbing.
Of course.
But I know him, and I can, anyone around him.
It's like, we can tell from his
see
face.
what is clear. And of course, behind closed doors, there are stories like, hey, he tried to make a move on this or this other person.
How old is he?
My age.
Okay. Thank you, Rob. Thank you so much.
But
thank you, Rob.
Out there, Dave,
we're going to have you coming back. Have you come back?
Oh, of course, I'm going to come back.
You're great for the show. Add to the payroll for real.
But when he tells stories, he's like, "Oh yeah, I was dating this girl," and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, "We're not. You're."
Wouldn't it be like a double twist though, Mario? Like if he turned out to be like totally straight as a board. But you're saying
I think my gaydar is good enough.
Okay.
We have in here a great singer called Juan Gabriel, and he said a beautiful line.
Oh, hey, Brad.
Lo que se ve no se pregunta.
He's like, what you see, you don't have to ask about it because you already can tell. That was a really famous line. Like,
and it's so hard. And at least when I was a kid and I heard that, it opened my eyes because my dad, especially my dad, he's the kind of guy who's not homophobic. But if we were going to a reunion or a gathering with friends and someone in the group is gay, in the car, he would prepare me for it. Even to this day, he still does it. Like, hey, we're going to your Uncle Stu's house, but he has his cousin there. He's gay.
Oh, so he'll have to give you like, what was it? He'll have to give you a warning?
Yeah, he has to warn me that, hey, we're going, but he has his cousin there. And I'm like,
but he says like a whisper.
Yeah. And I'm like, okay.
Thank you, Keith PV. I was forced to hate myself for being gay by my church. I'm sure.
I'm really sorry, Keith. I'm really, really
Keith,
sorry.
I'm sure we probably compadeciendo. Is that the word?
Yeah.
Like, what is it word? Like, what is the English word for that?
Compadeciendo? Well, I don't even know. I don't think I even know the term in Spanish.
Understanding each other.
Yeah, like that's a word. I don't know where but yeah, we're vibing. I'm picking up on your thing. I think there was a time when you go through that, you know?
Yeah, but now, for example, this guy is my age and I have a completely different mindset around that. If I were to a meeting and someone, like if I'm coming to your place and I have a kid, I want to warn him. He will come, he will talk to you and he will know. And he doesn't have to mention it or acknowledge it, you know?
Right.
And I learned that because of Juan Gabriel, because of that quote, because if it had only been for my dad, I'd probably thinking, oh yeah, he's gay.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
I think also your dad maybe saying, Keith, it's like kind of like I'm feeling what you're feeling is what it means. But there's like, it happens to be a word for it in Spanish.
I think
it's like I'm having like we're both feeling the same thing. Maybe you can
we're
like
in the same boat together.
Yeah, exactly. But Keith, do you still think you might be still suffering from it? Like there's still like hints of it inside. Maybe that's a thing. The church, that's the problem with the church too. Is like it got too crazy, and then now it's going the other way.
Yeah. Well, the thing is that I know people my age in this day and age who are still gays
in the closet. Yeah.
And I think it's weird. Again, I have no idea what everybody's struggling with.
Right.
Come out whenever you feel like you want to come out.
Come out wherever you are.
But it was weird, because you don't see them that often.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, but this guy, he's still like you're saying that he needs to. But if you did think there would be career ramifications if he did come out,
of course not.
But in his mind, he thinks that.
I believe it has something to do with the way he was raised. Probably, I don't know, because
is he a well-known dubbing actor, or is he just kind of like regular?
Yeah, he was recently funado. I won't say his name because he's not open about it.
He was trying to. Does that mean outed?
Funado is like what is canceled? It's one way to say it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, very, very recent
by
controversy.
A woman?
No,
by a man.
Yeah, but it's gender neutral. The controversy has nothing. It's not sex related.
But don't you think it's weird that they're canceling people that are like they're not even in like that big of like? Do you know what I mean? Like I think dubbing is.
I think dubbing has its own little fan base. People.
Yeah.
Like, even I have fans.
Sure.
Which is super weird for me because I don't think I'm big in any way.
No,
but I can tell you for sure.
Yeah.
For example, there was this one. I'm a voice of a cartoon character of a Cartoon Network cartoon.
Okay.
It's called Big Blue, and I have my TikTok account, and I have some fans of the show there.
Sure.
And there's this girl who draws painting of the voice actors, and she has drawn me, and she follows me. And I think I replied to one of the because my girlfriend, my former girlfriend, found her and she was like, hey, this woman is doing videos of you and she's tagging you. Have you not seen them? And I'm like, I haven't really checked them. Well, she's making little drawings of you. So I tapped and liked it. And then I decided to see a story of this. I think it was like 12, 14-year-old girl.
Yeah.
And she was geeking out because I liked.
She made a video of her geeking out?
Yeah. Because I liked the drawing. And I thought that was so sweet.
Aw.
You know what I mean?
No, it's real. It's very real.
And even me, who is like nobody.
No, you are somebody. You are somebody. And I think that I think part of it too in this new like economy that we are, it's like you just have to like speak your truth, and it's like it's like build it and they will come.
Yeah.
Type of thing. It's very real. And so I think I think this will also open the door for like a whole new like audience too, like because I think you're actually highly entertaining the way you're talking about that, because you're like, can I talk about this? It's kind of funny.
You know something? I think
it's kind of comical,
and I think it's part of my English personality. I do think I'm generally funny also in Spanish.
Sure, no, that's real.
But I have a certain quip in English.
Yeah,
that I think it's better for me, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, I think English in general is because you can reach across so many different cultures as well.
Yeah,
and it's just it's a different mindset as well. And I think people are more they'll rally. You can rally people.
Yeah. So. Because I've tried making videos, for example, like reviewing movies and stuff.
Yeah,
and I did them in Spanish because most of my following it's from dubbing, so it's in Spanish.
Sure.
But I see the video and I'm like, it doesn't have the same feel. I would like to record it in English.
Right. Maybe you should because it'll just blow the door open. Some of the biggest people who talk about like cinema history are actually from like the Czech Republic or like from like this former Soviet Union country. Like the guy who does From Stories of Old. Like it's like Stories of Old. It's LSOO, like Stories of Old. He's from like somewhere. Can we look him up where he's from?
Yeah.
It's like Stories of Old. But I'm telling you that English is the way to go because you reach across. And also it's like that's actually the audience that you want to reach anyway, because it's actually more all of the different things, all the metrics are better for you because it's let's say if you're from China and you're talking to someone from Japan, they don't even speak Chinese or Japanese, they speak English.
No.
It's crazy.
For example, I consume a lot of English content and I'm Mexican.
Where's he from?
Dutch. He's Dutch.
He's Dutch. I'm telling you, he's one of the best YouTubers in terms of cinema. He breaks down cinema so well, but it's the channel is called Like Stories of Old, LSOO. So you can look him up. You'll see he has a very, just like a marked accent, but it's not distracting. It's actually it almost adds to the feel.
Oh, yeah?
It actually adds something. Anyway, but I won't like keep it for, any longer.
I really like it.
Yeah. I know you got to go. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you so very much.
Thank you, guys.
It's been a blast. Please come back.
I will.
This is awesome. Thank you guys. Don't forget to like and subscribe.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you for Mario. Mario, this is great,
Yeah,
right?
Thank you
Thank you,
guys
yeah.
for sending us real money.
It's real.
Thank
I'm
you.
telling you, it's real. It's a real
Yeah,
thing.
it's not a
you.
monopoly thing. It's real
No,
money.
It's real. I know.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm telling you, that's why you should probably do stuff in English too, is because
Yeah.
even if you only have a small audience to start, it's like they can
You
support you.
absolutely right.
Thank
yeah.
you,
You see what I'm saying?
You were just opening my eyes, man.
Exactly. Because we had a television show. It was a little short show that we did. We had millions of people watch it, and it was in Spanish. We didn't get paid but one penny.
You know, maybe it has something to do with our own Spanish Mexican idiosyncrasy. Is that a word in English?
It has to do with also like the payments, it has to do with like the audience's consumer based power, all that kind of stuff. Everything has to do with it.
Anyway,
Thank you.
Thank
I
you,
almost got it
guys.
done almost every day, sometimes for weeks, but I have a permanent dock. I spend more time in the subboat than I do in my house. Keith Pios, don't we know that's the truth? Keith Pios, thank you for being here.
Thank you, guys.
Rob,
Thank
thank you
you
for
very
being
much,
here.
guys.
Thank you,
Thank you
Rob.
guys so much.
Bye, Rob.
We appreciate you. Bye. He's got to go to work. Bye, guys.
Bye,
Bye.
guys.
Bye. Have a
Thank
good rest
you
of your Saturday.
all.
Bye,
Bye-bye.
guys.
Thank you, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
10.